2, 2, hello, check. Check 2, 2, hello. It me. Rob. Your friend. Hello. I told you I'd be back, and I'm back. What have I been saying? 12 at the latest. 3 days in a... What is that, 3 days in a row? I can't count. Maybe it was 4. I don't even know. I'm doing it. I'm doing it, folks. How are you doing? Hello. The Barry Weiss enjoyer. There was a little... I'm actually surprised that no one mentioned this. There was a little Easter egg at the end of the stream for the real heads. There was a little Easter egg. There was one of those Marvel post-credit scenes at the end of the stream yesterday, and no one picked up on it that I know of. No one picked up on it. Sucks to be you. Did the Mavs close out tonight? I don't know. I mean, going back to Minnesota, it really just depends. I don't know. Minnesota's really good, and now that they've won one game, they're gonna be flying around. They've got a really good defense, so it's just a matter of if whether Luka and Kyrie can close like they did in games 1, 2, and 3. If they can be the finishers like they have been in games 1, 2, 3, then there's nothing really anybody can do about that. In the closeout game, Kyrie only looked human for the first time this series, really. And he was missing some shots and turning the ball over, so that's why they lost. And when Anthony Towns shoots well and plays well, the Timberwolves win, and he has not done that for 3 games. He was in a historically bad shooting slump, shot well and played well on offense in game 4, and they won, you know? So it's pretty hard to predict on any given day when any one of these players is going to perform like that, you know? If Edwards and Towns both dominate and play really well, chances are the T-Wolves are going to win any given game. If Luka and Kyrie are totally dominant, chances are the Mavs are going to win most games when they play like that. That's sometimes we think in basketball, we think we have things figured out, but sometimes guys just don't play as well. So we'll see. Looking forward to the game anyways. I've been enjoying the series. Both those conference finals were a lot closer than they seemed like they were. I mean, it's a safe bet. They looked really great, those 3 wins. So if they can get back to that. Kyrie's my favorite flat earth truther. I agree. Thirsty Housewife. I actually wrote an article for Vice when that was going on. When I wrote an article for Vice Sports where I looked on Kyrie's Instagram, and I created a new Instagram account and followed every single Instagram account that he did to try and see like what his Instagram feed looked like. It was a really interesting experiment. Back when I was a wannabe sports writer and wrestling writer, before I started jumping on the Twitch hamster wheel. The Twitch.tv content hamster wheel. Any thoughts on the utter collapse of Vice? I mean, it's predictable when they raise millions or billions of dollars, and all the fucking dipshit, like, hipster executives buy houses, and everyone else gets screwed over, and it just becomes this big, like, conglomerate content machine. You know, it's media, it's modern media. Like, it's just, the shit is not profitable. when you have a free product and then you're raising millions of dollars in venture capital and all the founders are becoming multimillionaires from it, and all the people writing and creating video content are getting totally screwed, the ones that are doing the work. What do you know? It didn't work out. It would be very, very funny if the Mavs blew a 3-1 lead. I don't agree, because the Mavs are America's team, and I do support the Mavs, and I want them to win the finals. It's going to happen eventually, though. You know, it's one of those things that seems impossible, but it's going to happen. It's impossible until it's not. If the Wolves did pull it out, though, I'll be fully in the tank for the Wolves in the finals. I will be fully in the tank for the Wolves to beat the Celtics if they did manage to pull it out. I think probably the Mavs will close it out in, I'm going to say 6. I'm going to say that the T-Wolves take this game and then they go back to Dallas, and Dallas closes it out in 6. Did you read the letter the Supreme Leader of Iran to the students of America? I mean, I saw the letter, and, you know, I read a bit of it in the excerpts that I saw. I don't know. I kind of feel like, even though I personally think it's good to build these ties of internationalism, I personally think it's good that, like, this international recognition is going on. I think maybe this is a case where maybe the Supreme Leader of Iran should just, like, hang back, maybe. I don't know that that's helping the situation when the United States government is, like, trying to frame this as some kind of, like, foreign influence op and surveilling all the leaders and beating the shit out of the students with riot cops. I don't know that that helps that. They're going to do that anyways, so maybe it doesn't make a difference at all, but I think that was my impression. I personally think it's cool. But maybe the Supreme Leader of Iran should be like, hang back. Just hang back and let it happen. Let it play out, you know? I think you should start a TikTok as well. I would agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. Far be it for me to tell the Ayatollah what to do. That's true as well. It's not up to me. I remember being young and naive and thinking Vice's DPRK docu-thingy was really a brave expose of the place, and now I just look back at it with embarrassment at their hysterical chauvinism while visiting a place that correctly spotted what they were about from the jump and just sort of humored them and then sent them home. Yeah, that one I don't think I've seen, but I think it is worth talking about Vice's role, bringing that, like, cool, hipsterish, edgelord kind of aesthetic to these, like, pro-empire narratives in DPRK, in Cuba, in Libya, in Syria, you know? Remember, we hung out with these Libyan freedom fighters that just killed Gaddafi, like that kind of stuff. We did coke with these Al-Qaeda guys, you know, doing that. And now they're going to say they support terrorism for the first time. That's what I mean. It's like I recognize this. Like, they're going to do this stuff anyways. So maybe it doesn't matter, but. Yes, Michelle. I for now, I have changed the sub counter. Okay? I talked a little bit about this yesterday. I'm going to try a little experiment with the sub thing to free myself and free you from the daily grind of the daily sub goal. And I just haven't, this is just I changed the subs for now. I reserve the right to change it back, because perhaps the daily goal is just the motivation that is required to gamify this enough to make the number go up. I don't know if this will be as effective. I've seen some people doing this. But this is just the total subs, and that's it. It's not even the end of the month Dakadoon. It changes from day to day. Like, it depending on if someone, like, if 30 days ago someone gifted a sub to somebody and then that sub runs out, it goes down. When someone subscribes or gifts a sub, it goes up. So it's not just like it doesn't, like, change on a month to month basis. It changes on a day-to-day basis. So this is the total number of subs. I'm trying to get to 1,000. I'm at 677 out of 1,000 right now, and I like that. That's my goal. That's when this show and this stream is like actually sustainable. But again, this is where this is good. Like, this is for now. Like, this is still good. I still make a little bit of living now, but like from this. But that's where I'm trying to go. It's still the little number. We're still trying to get it to go up. I just thought I would like free myself from this daily obsession with the hitting a certain target every single day, and then like feeling like I've failed or like my have no value or worth when it doesn't get to this specific thing. And I know it's not like this is the reality about the sub goal. Okay, the community is just not really big enough for it to be where I would like it to be eventually. So that's not really on you, right? That's just on me. I've just got to keep putting my head down and showing up here every day and try to grow this community until it gets to where I need it to be. But I'm still going to work on trying to make the number go up every day. It's just maybe a little bit less pressure on both myself and you to hit these like daily targets. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to you, chat? I don't think we do need another COVID lockdown. Like, maybe I would personally benefit from that, but I don't know if we do. All I'm hearing is that we're worthless and not doing our part. Not at all. Not at all. Believe me, I always try to reiterate this. I hate seeming like greedy or unappreciative. Do you know how much I appreciate that I can do this show and that I'm able to make a little bit of a living from it? I think that's absolutely fantastic. I'm so fortunate and lucky to be in that position. And I have you to thank for that, chat. I have you to thank. The simple economic reality is that I need to be doing better. So, again, that's on me to just like grow the community and keep doing this show and hope more people show up and we can make the number go up even higher. But I still am going to try and remind folks to help me make the number go up. So I thought maybe it would be an interesting experiment to not have to tie my mental health and my self-worth up in like meeting this daily target. You're a self-made man. There's no luck or good fortune involved. Bootstraps. Yeah. As with anything, Kill Panic, like for most people, like it's a combination of both. It's not like I haven't worked hard, you know? I've been showing up here for fucking years every day. Well, not every day, but a lot of days. You know, I've been doing this now 4 years every day, and it's hard to do, you know, but I also have been really lucky in other respects to be in that position in the first place. How physically active are you in a normal day? Probably not physically active enough. I do usually, especially because I have a child, I go for little walks. Usually I'm walking for 30-45 minutes a day, which again does need to be more. Having to acknowledge the role that circumstance plays is really scary. Yeah, absolutely. But that's the thing. It's like I don't really believe in pretending. Like I talked about this yesterday, right? Like you have to acknowledge that you have that certain like privilege. It doesn't mean that you don't work hard, but like it's a combination of both. You have to, some people work really, really, really hard and just never get to that same level of the level of success that they want. And it's completely unrelated to how hard they worked. Some people work their fucking asses off and just never get to where they want to go. And some people stumble ass backwards into success, you know? I guess that's been my grind set philosophy, though. That's been my thing. It's like when you do put in the time and the effort, good things, you put yourself in a position to have good things happen, but nothing is guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed at all. And some people work their asses off and make it big and think because of that, the people who don't make it didn't work hard. Exactly. Yeah. Like a lot of those people, you'll say, oh, you're privileged, you're this, you're that. And they'll be like, what are you talking about? I worked really hard to get to where I am. Being paid, 6 figures to just like write in magazines about how America is actually really good. I worked really hard to get to there. I don't doubt that you did work hard, but that doesn't mean that like there's not luck and privilege involved, and it doesn't mean that you're right or correct either. Anyway, one way to show me that this experiment is a good idea would be if we could make this number go up today. I mean, that could be one thing we could do, right? That would be one way to prove that this is like this new sub goal system is something to think about. Or 8 figures to tweet all day. It's good work if you can get it. My ex had the privilege that anytime he asked for a raise, he got one and thought, well, everyone just needs to advocate for themselves more. That's not how it works. Yeah, it's completely arbitrary. It's true. What did everyone get up to last night? I gotta say, like, this is really silly, but I've never watched Mad Max Fury Road. In fact, all of the Mad Max movies are kind of a blind spot for me. And Fury Road came out a couple years ago, and of course it was this big sensation. But the thing is, it's not that I haven't tried. I have tried to watch this movie, I want to say like 4 times. I've tried to watch Fury Road multiple times, and I always fall asleep. I always fall asleep whenever I try to watch this movie. Even though there's this big action thing and there's big explosions and car chases and crazy shit going on all the time, I always fall asleep. And then last night it's like, okay, I got some time. My kid was in bed like fairly early. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to get my snack. Oh, Marty, don't do me like that, please. She's a female lead and goes to nap mode. It's absurd. I got an Aliens poster right there. You want to talk about a female lead? It's my favorite movie of all time, Marty. So last night I was like, my kid's in bed at a normal time. I'm going to get my snack. I'm going to get my ice cold water. And I'm going to watch Mad Max Fury Road. And then I can go, like, if I need to, I can go see Furiosa, the new film, in the theaters. Mad Max Fury Road. I'm genuinely so surprised no one picked up on the post-credits scene in the stream yesterday. I was quite shocked that no one got that. Anyway, last night I was like, okay, we're doing this. I turned it on. 15 minutes into the movie, I'm just like literally, like not even 30 minutes in. Not even 30 minutes in, and I'm already fucking dead. And I fell asleep. Again. Frustrating, but I am going to watch the rest tonight. I'm going to watch the rest of this goddamn movie tonight. What day should I choose for Civil War? The problem right now, Marty, is the NBA playoffs. I think we got to, like, if we want a real community movie night, it's going to have to be like when there's no hoops, because I'm really tied up in that. And a number of other community members are as well. I liked Civil War a real whole lot, by the way. Oh, that's interesting, Kill Panic. I didn't hate it, but I didn't really like it very much either. But I would like to watch it with the community and talk about it, definitely. Cutting up some apples and cheese here. I'm pretty low on groceries. That's interesting, the summary that you sent me, Marty. We can talk more about it, but I think we should just watch it, then we can talk about it. I'm just going to eat my apple. There's some construction going on directly outside my apartment, so I'm going to see if that doesn't get too distracting today. I think they're fixing a big kind of hole in the concrete. Thank you, Kill Panic. Thanks for stopping by. I'm going to check in with Marcus, because I don't know why. Like, is Left Flank Bets? I know when those streamer bans talk about bans, it doesn't necessarily mean permanent. But are they like, is Marcus now like permanently banned now? This is how I win, is Rob's subverting the Twitch mods until he's the only one left. Man, I can't believe all these people are getting banned. What a tragedy. I'm out there like reporting everyone. I'm snitching to the Twitch mods, to the Twitch admins. Man, it looks like everyone got banned except me. Oh, this is so frustrating. This is so frustrating. Ah. Now I'm the only one left for people to subscribe to. Ah. What the heck? What the heck's going on? But Marcus was really adamant with his chat about conduct and kept a tight rein on things. I gotta say, the whole thing makes me quite nervous. This is why I don't, the beef stuff is funny, but it's why I don't engage with any of that shit. LFB does have a lot of hate watchers. I guess that's one thing I seem to have avoided. I guess I get some hate watchers, but not a lot. I guess that becomes a problem also when you start to get bigger. Chat's like, no, I hate you. No, I'm hate watching. Denim's Majority Report and Sean DeBlack are other small left-wing streamers still around. I don't know if Majority Report... I mean, they might be small on Twitch, but Majority Report's not exactly small. Enjoying my apple. Did you read that Andreas Malmverso piece on armed resistance? I mean, I don't know if I'm thinking about the same thing. I did see an excerpt from an interview, which was really interesting with him. Where someone was like, either you're against violence or you're not against violence. You can't be hypocritical. And he was just like, yes, you can. What are you talking about? I'm against political violence in certain cases, and in certain cases I support it. Like, what are you talking about? You absolutely can. That was really like an example of how the liberal mind operates. No, in St. Lotus, I don't doubt that someone did send their goons after him. That's the whole thing, like, I know beefing with people does bring in views and debating and all that shit, but like, when someone has a community that they can just instantly mobilize to just get you banned off this platform if you go against them, because you happen to like, you're against colonialism. And you might talk frankly about the rights of certain groups to engage in armed struggle against their occupiers. And they can take shit out of context and twist it up and get you banned from this platform. Like, then it's not worth it to get new viewers by beefing with people. Because then it's like, well, then you're screwed. Sam Sater is a Sex and the City star, so more like a coastal elite. I agree. I absolutely agree. If Hassan was slightly smaller, he'd probably be permabanned for some of his Israel takes. Absolutely. He just makes too much money for the Twitch Corporation. Like, it's not based in any real, like, principle or any, like, hard, like, limits of what you can say or not say. You see, it's crucial that we ignore the long history of political violence used to erect the current system of constant threat, which imposed duress on the decisions of the majority of humanity, and just do peace going forward. That's right. Yeah. That's absolutely right. Yeah, I guess Kira does have a long list of people that have been, like, after her for quite a while. Fortunately for me, I'm a sweetie, universally loved by everyone, so I should be totally okay. I should be totally okay moving forward. Everyone universally says, oh, that Rob Rousseau guy? Yeah, he's alright with me. I may not agree with what he says, but the man's a sweetie who has done or said nothing wrong. Oh, I hope the people that did get caught up in this do get to come back onto this platform. You must not hear about what we say about Canadians behind their back. Oh, I hear the comments. Yes. Yes, I do. I hear from time to time about the fact that I'm Canadian, and of what that means, about what I'm allowed to speak about and not speak about. A few people often remind me of this. Have any Canadians have been banned from Twitch? Maybe that's the difference. I don't think so. I don't think that is the difference. I'm waiting for Liv to get banned as a Canadian, but no avail. I keep getting Liv's crazy parking videos in my TikTok For You page. I always see Liv doing crazy parking on TikTok. Maybe I should start doing those as well. Have any Canadians with pinchable cheeks been banned? No, I don't think so. Canadians constantly sending their worst to the U.S. Drake, Steven Crowder, Jordan Peterson, we need you to stop. Fortunately, America would never send any reactionary weirdos to Canada or any other part of the world to infect whatever society with their awful takes and opinions and thoughts. America would never. America would never even dream of doing that. Here we sent you Celine and Justin Bieber. And Bryan Adams. And Nickelback.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Now you're thinking about pigpoopballs.jpg.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Thank you, Genghis, for the 21 months to tier 1. I appreciate it. And look at that. The little number's going up, just like the other little number. Look at that. I think the difference, though, is that this little number will go down sometimes. So maybe maybe my self-worth is going to be still tied up in the number. We'll see how it goes. Kamala Harris also spent her formative years there. Yeah, we also were heavily involved in the creation of MK Ultra, the CIA mind control program. So you're welcome, America. You're welcome. Rob Stonk is trading at 678. And again, folks, we're trying to get to 4 digits. That's the goal. There was one beautiful moment where I briefly touched it for one day, and then it all just went right back down to regress to the mean. But that's okay. I know we're going to get back there if I keep plugging away. I guess sometimes I think about that as well. Like, I'm going on 4 years doing this, but like, that's still like not that long. And a lot of the people that are on this platform that are like able to do well have been there a lot longer than that. Yeah, Marty, I'm trying something new with the sub goal thing. I've seen some other channels do this. Just put a running total of the number of subs instead of the daily goal. I'm still trying to make the number go up, but as I said earlier, I'm trying to free myself and you, the chat, from the fucking stressful grind of the daily sub goals. And I do reserve the right to go back to the previous system. You know? I reserve the right to go back to the previous system. I just thought I would try this for a little while just to see how it goes. We're going to see. So remember, if you are watching this show, the reason it's on the air is because I'm able to make as if this number goes up on a daily little basis. The little number. The little number at the bottom of the screen. That's the economic reality of doing this program. This little number that you see at the bottom of the screen must go up every single day that I do this. So if you can, if you're watching, please do subscribe and gift subs. Help me make the little number go up. I'm trying to grind my way to 1K. Who knows when and if that's ever going to happen. But we're trying to make the little number go up at the bottom of the screen on a daily basis. Buy the dip on the little number. Yeah, I have a goal, but I think it's like on when you open Twitch on your phone or on your computer, you can see the goal below this, like on the screen, not on the like this screen, but like below where the stream is. Jeremy Renner has been cast in Knives Out 3. I saw a couple of the casting decisions on there. I don't love Knives Out, those movies. You know, Rian Johnson is like, I feel like he's not as clever or has good politics as much as he thinks he does. But I still think they're enjoyable. I do like Daniel Craig as Benoit Blanc. I think that was a great casting, and that's a really fun original character. Like, it's not hard to pop me, right? You get someone like Daniel Craig come in and just have him do a funny, silly voice and accent, and it's like, hell yeah. Oh, he absolutely elevates it to something special, Marty. I think Rian Johnson's a guy that thinks he's plugged in with like the Twitter world and the political discourse, but is just like way more of a dipshit than he realizes. And I'm sorry, but Last Jedi was the ultimate testament to that. The Last Jedi, the last thing I want to see in a Star Wars movie is bullshit liberal Twitter references. I'm sorry, Sean, but we have to admit that it was not good. We have to admit this to ourselves. The Last Jedi was not good. I was thinking about this the other day. Now I'm on it now. Now we're on it. Even the Andor is fantastic, absolutely. Andor actually has good politics. Rian Johnson thinks he has good politics, but isn't actually a dipshit, though. Like, the whole thing, I was realizing the other day, like, I was really thinking about this. You had Andy Serkis as Supreme Leader Snoke. And, like, you could have done something cool with that character. You know? You've got Andy Serkis. You've got this character. There's so much mystery behind it. Oh, you don't want it to be just another Emperor-type character? Okay. Do something different then. Have something different. Instead, it's like how in Last Jedi, they make this somewhat like bold decision to just be like, no, this guy just doesn't matter, actually. Oh, you thought this guy mattered? Guess what? He doesn't matter at all. And then they course correct again in the next movie, and they bring in a less interesting villain, and it makes no sense just to like tie it up. Yeah, no, Sean, like that's what I mean. If you're gonna make that decision, then have a fucking plan in place. That's what I really hate about these Disney Star Wars movies. I really liked Force Awakens, even though it was very derivative. It's basically a remake of the first film. But I was like, okay, you've set the table now. You've got some new characters. You've got something to work with. Now you can work with it. And then it turns into this like back and forth. And the whole thing about Last Jedi is that it's this whole like meta commentary about Star Wars. That's not personally, if you like the movie, good for you. I'm happy for you. Personally, I don't want Star Wars to be a meta-textual conversation about what Star Wars is and what it means. Oh, you've got to leave the past behind. Oh, the sacred text, they're burning the sacred text. Yeah, you're very clever, Rian Johnson. You're very clever. Thank you. Who cares about all that stuff? It's not about... Who cares about any of that? Just throw it away. You know? And then in the next movie, they're like, no, forget actually all that stuff. Forget about that, actually. Here, you want Luke raising the X-Wing out of the water using the Force? Okay, there, you got that. What even was the commentary? It was like, this is dumb. This is dumb shit for babies, and you should be embarrassed for watching it. That's what the subtext was. And also, Hillary was right. I'm still with her. If you like The Last Jedi, you love Hillary Clinton. I'm sorry to tell you. It's a still with her Star Wars movie. And that's what I mean. You've got Andy Serkis. You've got Andy Serkis doing you could have him do something cool. Figure something out. That's the thing. They head fake towards some interesting ideas. Oh, this guy doesn't matter. Oh, maybe Kylo and Rey will like join up, and then goes in this completely different direction. But then you don't actually follow through on any of that shit. And then they just course correct in the next movie, and you have this whole like metatextual slap fight between these different creative visions taking shots at each other like in the movies. It's like, God, it was stupid. Visually nice, though. Nice to look at. Finn and Poe had a very cool friend dynamic that was tragically completely ignored. Finn, in general, he's set up at the end of Force Awakens to be like the guy in the series. And he just totally takes a back seat in the second film. He gets the B plot where they get to be the Bernie bros that like ruin the whole plan because they don't listen to the powerful girl boss in charge. And that's the big lesson that's learned. We should have just done what we were told by the powerful girl boss. We just wanted everything right away. We didn't listen to what we were told. We didn't do incrementalism. And then in the last movie, he's just running around, like just yelling and like not contributing anything. Finn and Rey should have been one character. I think off the top of my head, I haven't really thought about it a lot. I haven't fantasy booked the Star Wars movies very much. Off the top of my head, I would say you put Kylo and Rey together in the second movie, and that does this big moment of like, oh, it's subverted. Now all our expectations are subverted. You put them together, and she goes evil, and then in the last movie, you've got Finn becoming a Jedi, right? Because he picks up the lightsaber at the end of the Force Awakens, suggesting that he's possibly on that path. And then in the last movie, you've got Kylo and Rey versus Finn and Poe and company. How about that? That would be actually doing something different and interesting. Also, Holdo's plan wasn't ruined. It just didn't work. And the whole thing was a ripoff of a better Battlestar Galactica episode anyways. The whole concept. The whole concept of the movie was just like, let's do that really good episode of Battlestar Galactica, but not as good. No, Diego, I'm not literally describing the AI rewrite wish list of every single woman-hating incel man-child who hated The Last Jedi. No, I'm not. Because I think it's good to have powerful female characters and protagonists. It's unfortunately you, Diego, are holding on to a very liberal, centrist version, like Twitter discourse poisoned vision of the Star Wars franchise. And you were twisted up. You've become twisted and evil because this whole identity politics was used against you. They used this bullshit thing where like they rile up all these alt-right guys, and then they say, if you don't like that, you're a bad person. If you don't like it, you're one of these bad people. You were a brother to me, Diego. You were supposed to bring balance to this chat, not leave it in darkness. They're fucking modern day. I'm sorry. It's not good. It was not good. And that's the thing. Like I remember very well being in the theater. I really wanted to like it. I didn't go in being like, oh, this is going to suck. Oh, the Leia spaceflight thing. I hated that so much too. I think that was the moment in the theater when I was watching it going, and I had that moment. I had that moment watching it when she flies like a superhero through space after Carrie Fisher has actually died in real life. And she gets this like moment, this like sad, tragic moment. And then she flies through space. That was really the moment in the theater where I was like, I don't like this. I'm fine. I'm sorry. I don't like it. I'm sorry, I just have creative problems with Rian Johnson. I think Rian Johnson is too up his own ass.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob.
And he thinks his politics are way better than they are.
To celebrate 43 months, I accidentally ate peanut butter dog treats. Vegan though.
King Window, hello. Thanks for the 43 months of Tier 1 and all the support over the years, King Window. And I think you're allowed to eat those. I don't hate Luke's arc. At least he's outsmarting Kylo, not having to do harm. But when he tries to like murder the child Kylo, though, what is with that? Let's just move on. I'm sorry for the things I said, Diego. If you like the movie, it's fine. I was not a fan. I was not a fan, and like I said, I think Rian Johnson is way, way less clever and with good politics than he thinks he is. It's the same, like, again, it's the same thing with, like, the Ghostbusters thing. Like, the Ghostbusters 2016. It's this same thing. You do this thing, and all these alt-right freaks and weirdos and reactionaries get triggered by it. And then it becomes this culture war thing. Oh, if you don't like this, you belong in this, like, group of, like, fucking assholes. But, like...
This is some guy, Rob Russo, some leftist based in Canada. I was turned on to this sick individual, and I found this.
But the movie was also just bad, though. Not the cast wasn't bad. The cast was fantastic. The movie was awful. Lucid, thank you very much for the raid. Hello, Lucid. Thank you for the raid. Welcome, Lucid Raiders. Bring it on in here. It's me, Rob. It's nice to see you. Thank you for coming. We're arguing about Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Exactly. I don't think there's been enough discourse on that. I don't think we've talked about Star Wars: The Last Jedi enough. And I thought we should continue having this discussion and this conversation, and we should get actually angry at one another as well. Like not in a fun way. Not in a fun way. I think we should actually get mad about it. And it should actually affect our relationships. For the worse. What is there to say it's the worst Star Wars film? I don't know that it's the worst, but there's things about it that I didn't hate. Also, by the way, I should say there's things about it that I didn't hate, but it's on the lower end of the tier for me, definitely. Can we argue about the importance of Lumia and whether she'll be brought in as the mother figure from the Clone Wars in Ahsoka Season 2? The thing is, I haven't seen Clone Wars. I haven't seen Ahsoka. There's a lot of the Disney series that I haven't watched. Yeah, Episode 9 is worse. Episode 9 is worse because they tried to... All the things that, like, the weird fans were freaking out about, they tried to, like, fix all that in the next movie, rather than just, like, taking a plan and just following through with the plan. And just made it worse by comparison. Fury Road, just so great from start to finish. Riveting, it really keeps you alert and attentive. Absolutely. I've seen it many times for that exact reason. I actually never saw Solo. I watched the beginning, but I never watched the whole thing. The Star Wars film that, to me, this is one of my more correct takes, but I've always really liked it, and it's Revenge of the Sith for me is my third favorite Star Wars film. Revenge of the Sith is just fantastic. I love Revenge of the Sith. You just like watching younglings get lightsabered, exactly. Yeah, and then when... Stop having fire takes. I can't control it. Shout out to Ewan McGregor in that last fight. He brings it. He absolutely brings it in that scene. I still get chills every single time. That whole scene. That entire scene, I'm getting goosebumps now just thinking about it, and Ewan McGregor's a big part of that. Hayden Christensen holds his own as well. He wasn't perfect in those movies, but he absolutely holds his own in that moment. My favorite Star Wars film is Rogue One. I liked Rogue One. I think that was probably the best of the Disney Star Wars movies.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Really, just because it led to Endor, which is one of the best things that Star Wars ever did. Squandered Octopus, thank you for the Prime. Thank you. Very cool. My favorite Star Wars is the rap Daisy did.
You can count on me.
Fallon.
You're gonna have
I
good
cannot
old
say that I
Rob
saw that.
to talk you through all this.
I guess that's one of the reasons I was frustrated with the whole thing, because I thought they really nailed the casting of these new characters. Like, I thought Daisy really did a great job in the actual films with what she was given. But ultimately, I just think they just fucked up in delivering a story that really, like, those actors could really do justice. And like I said, Finn is the biggest disappointment. I really think it should have been built more around him. Or at least like a sort of co-arc with Rey and Finn. The way he got like pushed to the side, I think was bullshit. Boogie Bills, thanks for the Prime. Thank you, Boogie Bills. Oh, really? Is that who's controlling Star Wars now? Oh, that's interesting. I didn't realize that the Avatar guy was doing that. That series is fantastic. That's one of the best series. Best animated series ever. I liked Finn because I'm one of the few people who knew what FN 2187 is a reference to. Well, why don't you spill? Because I do not understand that reference. I'm flipping coins over here. I guess eventually we're going to have to talk about the news and everything. I wanted to talk a little bit about like the British election coming up and the way that like Keir Starmer is just purging everybody. This man's doing Stalinist purges. The thing that was like the big worry for everyone during the Corbyn years. The paranoid freak out about Corbyn's non-purges, and now you have Keir Starmer just purging everybody. I did want to talk a little bit about that. How do you get rid of Diane Abbott? Jesus Christ. This fucking guy. Let's revisit Last Jedi for 3 hours more. It's just not good. Like, I wanted to like it. The same with Prometheus. I wanted to love Prometheus. I was there opening night watching this movie. I was there opening night. And you have a moment in the theater when it's just like, I don't like this. And both Last Jedi and Prometheus, I had those experiences. What was your Prometheus moment? Well, we can't open this can of worms now. Jesus Christ. Although now that I have to talk about it. It was after the scene in... I was like a little unsure about the whole thing in the first place. But it was after that whole like scene in like the auto dock, like the cesarean thing with the creature. Which was like in and of itself kind of like an effective like bio horror kind of sequence. And it was after... that and the the main character, I don't even remember the character's name. That's how much of a failure it is to make an impression on me. And then she stumbles into like the other room, and there's that big reveal of Wayland being still alive, played by Guy Pearce in old man makeup. And they just see her walk into the room, and they just talk to her like nothing happened. And I was just like, this is just a series of cool scenes that someone thought would be cool to have on camera, and there's no actual connection between these scenes. She just walks in after going through this like fucked up like cesarean experience where it sucks out this creature, and they see her just like, oh hey, it's you, and they just talk to her like nothing happened. And why was Wayland pretending to be dead? We don't know. We don't know why. Why was he pretending to be dead? It was his ship. It was his mission. Why did he have to pretend to be dead to like go on this mission? And they hire all these like working class guys to do this important thing, and they don't even know what's going on. Why? Well, why is so you could have a scene in the movie where you see the scene happens, you go, oh wow, what a big twist. Wow. But it's like there's no logic behind it. There's no actual reason for it. And it goes nowhere. No, it doesn't. Ridley's a really bad filmmaker with a few good ones and way too much religious shit. He's like, the thing is, he's a fantastic filmmaker, I think, and Prometheus looks fantastic, but it's all in the story and in the script. And they brought in Damon Lindelof into Prometheus, and he did his like J.J. Abrams shtick, his like mystery box shtick in Prometheus, and included all this like religious allegory, and it sucked. And it didn't know what movie it wanted to be. It didn't know, like, is this a horror movie? Is this a big ideas science fiction movie like 2001? Is it an Alien prequel? Is it not? We don't know. In one scene it is, in one scene it's not. And it just goes back and forth. If it wasn't for Fassbender completely carrying the movie as the android, I think that like it would have been way worse. He was pretty much the only interesting thing about the whole movie. Also, the gaslighting about it definitely not being an Aliens movie before it came out didn't help. Yeah, that's the thing. You know the whole derelict spaceship in the first movie? Well, you're going to see that derelict ship and what happened to it. Oh, but no, this was actually a different derelict ship that looked like the other derelict ship from the first movie, but on a different moon. So there's actually multiple moons in the same system with different derelict ships that are almost the exact same, but this is not that, though. Oh man, I'm fired up. I hate this nerd need to explain mysterious things from movies. I hate that too. This need to have the lore of everything explained to everyone, and you're completely ruining whatever mystery you have, where you project your own ideas onto it. That's what makes it cool and fun. You see something cool, it's not explained, and you fucking think about something in your mind, and that's always way, way more interesting than having a whole other movie where you explain it in this like dumb way and retroactively ruin the other movie that you're supposed to be connected to. But I think that's what I hate more is this need to have these like twists, to have these like big moments of like, oh, what? I didn't predict that. What? But if you're just working backwards from there, you're not doing anything interesting. If you have a big twist that's actually like based on the story and the characters that make sense, then that's effective. There's lots of great twists that happened in movies that are effective. Thanks for the 420 Pac-Man Trinity.
2187 is a reference to a Canadian short film, 21 to 87, created by Arthur Lipsett. A snippet from an interview is played where a man discusses a sort of force that surrounds all living things. This number was also Leia's cell number.
Interesting. I was not aware of that. Did The Usual Suspects ruin film? I mean, that wasn't the first big twist ending, definitely. Although I still like The Usual Suspects. I think the twist in the end of Usual Suspects works really well. Or like Seven, you know? You can have a really effective moment that like takes it in this different direction that's exciting and different and interesting. But if you're just doing that just to do it and you don't do the work previously to like set that up in the story and with the characters, then you're just like jacking off. You know? Now I'm fired up. I'm fired up talking about this stuff now. Not like they made an 8 that was about the serial killer being bullied as a kid or something. Yeah, no one wants to see that. No one wants to see that. Yeah, and Lost is a good example of how it's just like promising this payoff that never comes. And you'll notice too that like if Lost had just left a lot of those mysteries as mysteries, it probably would have worked a lot better. The moment they actually did try to start explaining some of this shit, it was stupid, you know? That's what that whole final season was, and it was embarrassing. The Expanse is another show that I've tried to get into. It feels like something that I would like, and I've tried to watch it a number of times, and I always fall asleep. I just always fall asleep watching The Expanse. You'll notice this common trend, actually, when I talk about certain things. Yeah, it seems good. It's just, that's the thing. It's when it's a series and then you start missing the ends of episodes and then you lose time and then you don't need to go back. You don't know where to go back. And like, I saw this, but then I didn't see this. It's like, I find it really hard to get back into. I never watched Lost, but if they'd not tried solving everything, it would still be talked and debated about constantly. It'd still be relevant. Well, here's the thing, Marty. I would recommend watching Lost. I love Lost, especially like the first couple of seasons. The first 2 seasons are excellent, and there's some very good stuff in seasons 3, 4, and 5 as well. I think my big hot take about Lost is if you just don't watch the last season and you take the season 5 finale as the finale of the series, it works. That's how I would recommend someone do a Lost rewatch. Just watch the first 5 seasons, just don't watch the last one. The season 5 finale is great. It has a big emotional beat. There's not a lot of shit is left not explained, and that's fine. And that's totally fine. Or stretch out the wrapping up of the plots with less frenetic pacing and give it more time to breathe. I mean, that was the Game of Thrones problem as well. We have to go back. What a great moment. Man, I remember watching that live. I remember watching that being like, holy shit. I had big Lost watch parties and stuff. I loved Lost. That would be a big project for a rewatch, but like that would be one thing I would be maybe into doing because I really do love Lost a lot. Yeah, and remember you'd see like glimpses of stuff. Like I remember at one time there's that scene there's a scene where like a blast shield goes down at one of these like sets, and there's this like map scribbled on it, and you see it for like 5 seconds, this whole like map and all this stuff, and then you go online the next day and the image has been posted and everyone's analyzing all the different shit about the map and all that stuff. I loved that stuff. That's one thing that's really been lost about the current like streaming model of releasing entire seasons of shows all at once, rather than doing episode by episode at a specific time. I loved that stuff. That was so fun. Yeah, the Desmond episodes. It's one thing that's been lost. Is Westworld good or is it nonsense? I enjoyed season 1. I didn't watch the whole series though. I did enjoy season 1 though. Be cute to do an update of Lost, polish it up, put it in space, and subsequently call it Lost in Space. It's just so crazy, it just might work. Season 1 was the best season of Lost? Yeah, I mean, probably. I really liked season 2 though. Both the beginning and the end of season 2 of Lost are insane. There's a scene in early on in Westworld. Okay, yeah, I'm talking about Lost. But like, there's a scene early on in season 2 of Lost when they watch that orientation video, and man, I don't think my synapses have ever been firing more watching something on TV. That fucked me up. It was such a cool way of like every single year kind of expanding the universe of the show a little bit. This is largely why I had no faith in the Fallout show, and seeing how season 2 is set up, I have even less faith. I quite liked season 1. Like I was saying before, I don't have a huge connection with the Fallout like franchise, so I don't have this like critical eye of it. I think we all love Ed Harris. Absolutely we do. I watched A History of Violence again the other day, and he's awesome in that as well. Do you like anime? I've never really gotten into the genre. I mean, I like Akira, and I've seen a lot of other big animes, but I've never like gotten sucked into like one of the longer series or anything like that. Oh, I would really recommend watching Fallout, Sean. It's very good. Weird that The Abyss didn't hit as well as it should have. Ed crushed in that. I recently, Boogie Bills, I saw The Abyss in theater, a remastered version in theater in Montreal a couple months ago, and it was fucking great. I really appreciated it so much more seeing it in the theater with the big sound. It was like a ride, like way more than I've ever really experienced watching it before. I thought Akira was just a cool bike anime based on the cover. I got super high before. It was an insane first watch. That was definitely one that I saw when I was probably 12. Just like slowly like expanding the scope of your reality as you watch it. But watching Akira is amazing though too, because like you see how influential it was. You see how so many things took from it. If someone could accomplish Akira in live action, right? I remember they were making one a couple years ago, but they ended up canceling it because people were too pissed off about it. Because I think they were like whitewashing it too. I don't think you don't need it. You know what I mean? You don't need a live action Akira. Like I think, yeah, like Lodane's saying, like I think maybe in theory you could, but what are you really gaining? Like what is it? What are you bringing to What are you bringing to Akira by making a live action version, you know? What are you improving? What is being improved? Halo Dane. I didn't watch any of the Avatar either. Maybe I should still. I don't know. I didn't watch any. I watched the first episode of the Netflix Avatar and I didn't watch any more of it. It'll come eventually with a huge IP with a built-in fan base, so they have to try to monetize it. I mean, maybe. Is anyone watching those other like live-action animes though? Apparently, the One Piece was good. I don't know. Like, you don't. I feel like none of these things are making any kind of like cultural impact. They just. This is the problem with the streaming model. These things come around, and they very few like penetrate our culture and become like something that you remember and talk about moving forward. I still might watch all the live action Avatar stuff. The casting seemed pretty good. Is it because they're streamed or because they suck? Not necessarily. Like, I think the old way of doing things, this is not just old man yells at cloud, but I think having films come out in the theater with a theatrical run and then like a subsequent DVD release of something help things have more of an actual impact in our culture. When you just have this fire hose of content just spraying content at you every single day. Here's a live action One Piece series. Here's this, here's that, here's 20 different things. Like, it all becomes this like slop, and nothing, even if some of it is good, even if some of it has merit, none of it like rises to like the kind of saturation that it maybe once had. Yeah, Iroh is great. He seemed cool in the live action version too, but I never watched the whole thing though. Yeah. It's weird. Like, again, I sound just like an old man yelling at clouds sometimes talking about this, but I do think that like it's something has been lost with this model. I mean, it's why I like those Avatar movies, because it's a big spectacle. And as much people as say that, they're just getting really into controversial takes here. As much as people say that Avatar doesn't have any kind of like cultural impact, I think it does. I mean, these movies are huge events. We should get the reverse animated remakes of live action movies. Like, I do kind of agree with that. Like, I think a lot of these like MCU superhero movies would be better. Would be way better if they were just animated. I think when you have like live action and like actors that then get just dropped into like this big CGI like mess, it looks bad. I think it needs to be one or the other. I think you need actors and practical effects, or you should just have an animated film. Rob's still fighting about James Cameron's Avatar is such a funny bit. Cameron's my guy. That's all. It's not a bit. This is my life. He's my man. Animatrix works better as a series of sequels more than its actual sequels did. Enough said. I have some thoughts on that as well, because I didn't watch the whole thing, but I recently watched a bit of Matrix Reloaded. And I like the Matrix sequels. I think they're a little bit underrated. What's your stance on Titanic? I don't love Titanic. I saw it once in the theater in 1998, and I haven't seen it since. I think technically it's an amazing accomplishment, but it's the James Cameron that I've seen probably the least. I liked the Matrix. I think the Matrix sequels are a little bit underrated, but I think one problem though that I noticed turning on the Matrix Reloaded the other day, which I like the Matrix Reloaded a lot. It's got some really cool stuff. The whole last like car chase that goes on for like 30 minutes with Morpheus and the samurai sword and all that, and the motorcycles and all that shit. Amazing. It's like one of the best action sequences. There's a lot of stuff about Matrix Reloaded that I like a lot. I think it doesn't work. I think the best sequels, though, work as standalone movies. The very best sequels, you can turn on the movie and you don't have to have seen the original to still enjoy it. And I don't think Matrix Reloaded lives up to that. Not only do you have to have seen the original film, but there's also all this other. You had to see the Flight of the Osiris, the CGI one, and you had to play the video game to get the backstory of this other ship and Jada Smith's character. You know, it was too much tied up in that, and that's one thing. It didn't work. If they had made a Matrix sequel that really still stood on its own and worked as a standalone film, it would have been a lot better. Yeah, Terminator 2 is a good example. Aliens is a good example. That's why James Cameron is the master of this. Godfather 2. Totally. Predator 2 as well. Yeah, it's like, this is what I think you need to do. And you have references to the original films, and you have similar beats. It's a sequel. Like, it's not like it's pretending the other movie doesn't exist. But I think if you had never seen a Matrix movie and you turned on Matrix Reloaded, within 5 minutes, you'd be like, what is this? What am I looking at? Who is this? Who are these people? And there's these big, long conversations about these kind of philosophical subjects, which are kind of interesting and fascinating. But I think if your goal is to kind of just like have an entertaining, enjoyable movie, especially for people that haven't seen the original, you lose a lot of people, I think. That said, I do really enjoy the Matrix sequels. With a snooty Frenchman, yeah, the Merovingian. I mean, I was thinking more of, there's a whole scene where Neo goes down to in Zion. Neo is talking to this like old politician guy, and they go down to like the basement level of Zion to look at all the machines keeping everyone alive. And they have this kind of big, like, it's like a 7-minute conversation about like the nature of like choice and like these machines, and like, oh, these machines are good, but other machines are killing us, and we have control over these ones, and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, if you really like The Matrix, it's pretty interesting. But if you're just watching that movie for the first time, you'd probably be like, you know, let's move it along here. I've seen a few Japanese flicks where the sequels are obviously shot at the same time, everything planned out, same actors, costumes. They don't stand on their own very well, but they actually work together. Unlike most sequels, they know how to do a series. Yeah, absolutely. And like The Matrix 2 and 3 were shot together, but that was the whole thing with Star Wars, right? There's no plan. And the lack of a plan is completely obvious when you can have that. Even in the original Star Wars films, there wasn't this like plan mapped out beat by beat from the beginning, but it still works. They made it work. You can make that work. But in these new Star Wars, the lack of a plan is so abundantly clear from movie to movie. Anyway, I'm definitely an apologist for the Matrix sequels. The original 9 stories had the droids as the only people in all 9. They connected everything. It's like history. It rhymes. What about the 4th Matrix? I still have not seen it. I don't know. I still have not watched the 4th Matrix film. Even if they didn't go with the plan when you're playing telephone, it's not fun when someone wants to be an asshole. That's what I mean. If you have the same creative team making a series of films, even when you're kind of like making it up as you go along, it'll make sense. If you're bringing in a different creative team every time and then course correcting for and focus grouping everything, no, it's just going to end up being a big pile of shit. I've never seen the holiday special, the Star Wars holiday special. We're doing it. If you love uninterrupted Wookiee on Wookiee dialogue without subtitles, boy, do I have news for you. That sounds great. That genuinely is my favorite thing about Star Wars, and Andor did this really well as well. Is when you have like a big weird alien guy and a normal like human guy talking to each other, and the aliens talking in this weird alien language, and there's no subtitles, but they clearly like understand each other. I love that bit. That pops me every single time. That's the whole Wookiee dynamic with Han and stuff. There's a great part in Andor that's like that. Grogu, yeah, that was the one saving grace of the third one, The Rise of Skywalker. When there's that little guy, who's the little guy? There's a little freak in the third one. Babu Frick, that's right. He totally elevated it to way better than it could have been. Babu Frick is pretty much the only saving grace of that entire movie. Little robot buddies are best for that. I like the little robot buddies trope, but what I really love is a weird freak alien. And you have banter with the alien going blah, 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 blah. And the guy's like, no, I told you to get the other part from back there. And they're having like banter. That's good stuff. That's great stuff. Let's discuss Enemy Mine. I haven't seen Enemy Mine in quite a while, though, Dave, but Enemy Mine is really good, though. That's another one that I remember from a kid as really clearly because of that fucking terrifying sand pit alien in Enemy Mine. Oh, God. Even thinking about that now, I haven't seen that movie in probably 30 years. Even thinking about that now is, like, scary to me. I hate that thing. I went into the weed store and came back, and still Skywalker. My son's favorite is the lava one. That's the Revenge of the Sith. He has good taste. Although we haven't been talking about Star Wars this whole time, it's been a meandering discussion about films and creativity and pop culture. Enemy mine originally meant my enemy, but as a kid I immediately clung to It's a Mining Planet part. I've never even considered that. Oh fuck, I hate that sand pit alien. Sucks. I mean, I guess eventually we're going to move on to talking about more of the news and stuff. As you know, folks, I love talking about films and, pop culture bullshit. I do enjoy doing that. If you do support this program, though, and you like having these kinds of conversations, and you want to support this community and this show, please help me make this little number at the bottom of the screen go up. As you see, I'm trying something new with the sub goal situation. Instead of a daily sub goal that I'm trying to hit, I'm just have an overall number here that I'm trying to make go up each and every day. It's a little experiment. I reserve the right to go back to the original system. But if you can, please do subscribe to this program and help me make this number at the bottom of the screen go up. That's my whole purpose in life. It's my whole purpose in life is to make this little number at the bottom of the screen go up. So if you can, please subscribe to this program and support the work that I do on here. I really appreciate it a lot. You can join the Friendship Triangle system. That's Twitch's only two-dimensional triangle-shaped friendship access and trickle-down clout tiered reward system. How will we get you to sing? I mean, I guess there must be a way to still track the daily number. Last Starfighter is 100% how it feels to do. See, now this is the problem. Now the calls to action are less effective. This is the problem.
This.
Comrade Bushy, thank you very much for the gifted sub. Thank you. You see what I mean, though? This is my concern, dude. This is my concern, dude. I feel like now the calls to action are less effective. Because it's like, oh, look, the number's big. It's actually significantly under the goal. We're officially 320 subs away from the goal. You need both, but also read my novel. I just feel like that's too much going on the screen, though. Comrade Bushy, thanks for the gifted sub, though. Whatever, the number's huge. This is my concern, dude.
You're gonna have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Last Starfighter is 100% how it feels to date a conspiracy loon. They feel like they're going to stumble on the big secret somehow, e.g. being good at playing video games. They'll be let into the club and know the real truth that's hidden from the losers that just don't know. I gotta be honest with you, I have never ever seen The Last Starfighter. It's not like I saw it once when I was a kid and I haven't seen it for a long time. I've never seen it. Flight of the Navigator is very good. I like Flight of the Navigator. And Dick Penderin, thank you for the 2 gifted subs. Thank you, Dick Penderin. Flight of the Navigator is really good. You know another random 80s movie that I was reminded of the other day? Cloak and Dagger. Does anyone remember the film Cloak and Dagger? He's about this like little kid and he's obsessed with this like spy action hero guy. And he like sees him. He has like visions of this like spy figure, like action character. Who of course you love Cloak and Dagger, Lodane. Obviously Lodane loves Cloak and Dagger. Of course. Jack Flack, I think that's it. Yeah. I'm sure it's very anti-Russian. Yeah. Yeah, and he stumbles into so this kid is obsessed with Jack Flack, this action hero, and he sees him and he looks like his dad. His dad like ignores him, and his dad is like a piece of shit. So he imagines that his dad is like this like cool action hero. And then he gets involved in some crazy mystery conspiracy thing. Dabney Coleman, I was not aware that he did just die. I remember there's a messed up scene in that. I don't know. I don't want to spoil it. I think you're thinking of Last Action Hero. No, but I think Last Action Hero used that kind of trope, though. That's why I shouted it immediately. Dabney. No, there's a messed up because there's a video game, right? There's like this old school like Atari video game, and he finds out that there's some. I think it's that angle where like some spy that's been shot or he's getting chased slips this video game to this little kid. I think that's what happens. It's that whole thing, which is also similar to The Rocketeer. And then the kid discovers that there's this like code on the video game cassette that he has to like do something with. And then he's got spies chasing him, trying to get it back. Yeah, and with an imaginary friend element to it. And I remember there's an intense part. He brings this cartridge to his like comic book nerd like friend, older guy, like a comic video game store owner or something, to find this code. And then these spies come after this guy, and it's pretty dark. You remember that, Lodane? I think you see him in like the trunk of a car or something, and it's like, oh shit. You're a little kid? Oh man, Boogie Bill's Lawnmower Man traumatized me. Lawnmower Man, I don't think I've seen it since the early 90s, and I don't think I would want to. I think there's stuff with a chimp at the beginning that fucked me up. It fucked me up good. I don't think I could watch it again. There are some fun effects, though, in the end. Project X. I don't think I do remember that one. No, I never saw that one. I do have fun talking about this stuff. It's fun. I think Meet the Feebles, I think I'm too old for that. Oh, Peter Jackson's first. Okay, I'm thinking about something else then. 89. No, I never saw that one. Oh, Dan, I love that you're into Cloak and Dagger. That's great. That would be fun to watch with my son, actually. Did you see the Deadpool and Wolverine popcorn bucket? Are they doing... This is so, like... It's such a shtick, though. It's like, oh, we're doing... Remember the popcorn bucket thing? Oh, we're doing that. I don't know about this Deadpool and Wolverine stuff. I find it cringe. And I think it's time for everyone to reevaluate Ryan Reynolds as like a box office attraction. Ryan Reynolds has been in mostly dog shit movies that are not successful. He's like a guy. He's like a baby face in wrestling that they just keep like pushing despite not connecting with anybody. I think we've all been victims of a psyop to convince us that Ryan Reynolds is a movie star, and I don't think there's actually any connection to reality with that. Being in dog shit movies doesn't mean you're not a box office attraction. Well, that's absolutely true, but he's not a box office attraction. I think Deadpool is kind of one of the only actual successful franchises that he's been in. He's literally just, he's Van Wilder. He does the same shtick. 20 years. Ryan Reynolds and Roman Reigns. Well, at least Roman Reigns eventually found himself and it became the big box office attraction that they were trying to make him into. Lodane's getting so fired up. I love it. Thinking about the lightsaber scene in Free Guy makes me foam at the mouth. It's on site with Reynolds for that scene alone. I didn't see that one, no. It does seem to be like one of those like movies now that a lot of movies are, where it's just like, you like this IP? You like this IP? It's the Ready Player One-ification of like pop culture. Look, here's a different, here's a lightsaber. You like that, right? Here's that other thing that you like from when you were a kid, when things were not miserable. Remember this? We got to see the Ready Player One song. This is pop culture now. This is what it is now. This is what our culture is now.
Remember King Kong? Remember Ferris Bueller? Remember War Games and Back to the Future? Remember Tomb Raider? Remember Weird Science? Remember Battletoads and the Iron Giant? Remember Star Wars and Transformers the movie? Remember Ghostbusters? Remember The Goonies? Remember when neon used to be trendy? Remember the Where's the Beef Lady from Wendy's? Remember Akira? That's from Japan. Remember Galaga and Mrs. Pac-Man? Remember Contra? Remember Street Fighter? Remember the A-Team? Remember Knight Rider? Remember The Simpsons seasons 1 through 9? Remember logging onto America Online? Remember Highlander and Highlander 2? Remember Star Trek? We certainly do. Ready Player One.
That's it. That's our culture now. No, I've absolutely not come around to Spielberg being a bad director. Amazing Bird Show. That's one thing you're never going to get me to budge on. Spielberg, one of the best to ever do it. Oh, shit. Hold on. Move this over here. Not the best way to do this. Just wait until Ready Player 2 comes out. Are they even doing that though? Like, Spielberg is a fantastic director with mediocre taste in writing. Yeah, we talked about Ridley Scott earlier, and I would say that as well. I think as we were talking about before, Munich is the Spielberg that I really want to revisit right now, considering like everything that's happening in the world. I really do want to revisit Munich, which has some really some of Spielberg's best like directing and camera movement and stuff. But I think in light of certain recent events, would be really interesting to revisit and discuss. I mean, Sean Mead, like what you're describing with the Iron Giant is the ultimate example of like that commodification, because it's just the Iron Giant, but just the image of it, just the picture on the box, nothing about that character or that film. Oh, you want to see the Iron Giant going running around and like doing a bunch of stuff? Yeah, it's just playing with action figures. Also, the one Iranian hostage movie with Affleck, didn't that win a bunch of awards? Yeah, it probably would be worth watching as well. It's a good movie. It's a really effective kind of thriller. But yeah, I think politically, I think there's some things we need to talk about with a lot of these kind of films. Argo, yeah. I mean, Affleck at least has decent politics. I remember really liking Syriana too, although maybe it's Libby. I don't remember. It probably is. I thought Syriana was like felt like we're just going to make this like really dense and like hard to understand, and that's going to pass off for being like intelligent, but not necessarily effective, like an effective storytelling. Speaking of Munich, if it's the movie I'm thinking about, we think this year's Olympics are going to be heated. That's a good question. That's a very good question, Marty. In Paris? Yeah. Oh boy. Okay, so I'm going to say this. What I've said since Wolverine Origins, Ryan is perfect casting for Wade Wilson and decent as Deadpool, but he didn't play DP in the movie. A bodybuilder stuntman that looks a lot like Ryan from The Nose Up did. Thus the mouth being covered. Okay, well, I'm going to take your word for that as a resident Deadpool expert. Lodan. Yeah, I didn't hate him in the movie either, but I think overall we do need to reevaluate Reynolds as a A-list box office movie star. I think Hemsworth also fell out of that list, also with Furiosa bombing. I would like to give Furiosa some more time. I think being too caught up in Furiosa's like opening weekend box office numbers is a mistake. I think that one's gonna grow in time and at least be a cult classic. I like Hemsworth. I think Hemsworth still has some stuff to offer. I like seeing him do something like Furiosa, where he's having fun and being a villain and like doing something kind of cool and different. Yeah, George Miller does have a great track record. Totally. The original trilogy Mad Max grossed 70 million total. But look at the legs on those. Yeah, I think that's an important viewpoint. Like I was saying before, the Mad Max films, this is what started off this entire discussion like 2 fucking hours ago. But Mad Max is kind of a blind spot for me. I never really watched the originals growing up, and Fury Road I've tried to watch multiple times but always fall asleep, including last night. Yeah, well, I think you're totally right, Diego. Like Ben Affleck's decent politics. If it's not an Islamophobe, that's too low a bar. I agree. For like, I think the bar is very low. I think for like a wealthy American celebrity, he probably gets over the low bar. But you're right that he's not going to have like any kind of radical ideas or be that interesting. What volume do you have your TV at too? PM Trio, I literally fell asleep in Dune 2 in the theater with the big sound, brawn, the big sandworm and all the big Hans Zimmer synths and like crazy explosions. I'm in the theater going, I don't know. I'm sleepy. I'm sleepy. I'm a sleepy guy. I'm sleep deprived. Sleepy Rob. The assless chaps in Road Warrior were quite possibly the absolute beginning of the 80s. Well, that's the thing. I did download the Road Warrior last night. I've never seen it. Off the Benjamin FR. I mean, there's a bit of that as well. I think I tried to do the opposite last night. I was getting sleepy and I was like, maybe if I hit the Benjamin more, maybe I'll hit the Benjamin more and that'll wake me up. And it didn't work. But yeah, I've never seen the Road Warrior. I've never seen one. It's not like one of those things that I've seen like in the past that I forgot about. I've never seen it. So I am going to watch that soon. Thunderdome is a big guilty fave of mine. Yeah, I mean, you got Tina Turner in there, right? It can't be totally bad if you got Tina Turner doing some crazy shit. I mean, even if it just rises to camp, like at least like something is being accomplished, you know? Ugh. Yeah, I'm a little disappointed. I did want to see the new Apes movie, and I wanted to see Furiosa, and I still haven't gotten around to either. That's how grim my dating prospects are in Montreal right now. I was like, will someone just come and sit next to me while I watch one of these films? No. Okay. That's fine. That's fine. See if I care. And just fall asleep immediately. Yeah, exactly. That's very fun for people to be part of. Big downgrade from Matt Reeves. He wasn't exactly an auteur. He's not an auteur, but he crushed those Apes movies, though. He had like the level to which he just like had a grand slam with those. Can't be understated. No, Guillotine is amazing. It's probably like the best blockbuster sci-fi of like the 2010s. I think the last one, the third one, is the one that I saw. I think I only saw that once, but I remember it was pretty good. The second one, though, I love Gary Oldman in the second one. The first one is better than it had any right to be. I think the first one's good. whatever your feelings are about James Franco, he's fine in it. You know, it's fine. Talk about another sequel that would stand on its own. Like you can just throw on Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, knowing nothing about it, and you're good. You know, you're totally good. They fucking ripped. To bring it back to Charleston, what a showing in Soylent Green and Omega Man. Please watch those if you've never seen them, chat. Old but perfect. I would like to see both of those. Funnily enough, the only thing I remember about Soylent Green is the SNL clip with Phil Hartman. Soylent Green is people. It's people. He's like, vamping in all these different situations. That was fantastic. It was just Phil Hartman's like death anniversary the other day. The thing about the Soylent Green is Tech Bros made an actual Soylent Green product, so I expect the Torment Nexus soon. We talked about this often, but these tech guys can't stop making the stuff from the cautionary tale science fiction shit that they read or watched. That was really the line with The Simpsons when it began to go downhill after Hartman's death. I watched one with my son from yesterday. I watched The Simpsons yesterday from like season 15, and it was just even that. Like season 15 of The Simpsons was still 15 fucking years ago. Like that's crazy in and of itself. But it just sucked. It was not good, and the characters don't act like you expect. It's just not. It's not good. And I've heard the newest season is actually pretty solid. I don't know. I wouldn't know. The thing is, I've seen clips from it, and it's just depressing. The voices, Sean. The voices. Like I saw a clip of like Mr. Burns the other day, and now Mr. Burns actually does sound like a legitimately ancient old man. It's so depressing. And Julie Kavner can barely talk. The whole let them retire thing is weird too, because they get paid a lot. Like it's like, yeah, okay, get your bag, Julie Kavner, I guess, but like, fuck. It's depressing. It's depressing and unsettling, even if the writing is okay. You know? That's one thing I'm proud as far as like being a parent and like passing on pop culture stuff. I've got my kid really into those Simpsons episodes. Julie's a Scientologist. They never let her retire. She's a big bag of money for them. Oh, well, there it is. God, it sucks to listen to, though. The Quebec version has seen 2 voice actors died. I did not realize that. Actually, I don't think I've ever watched this. The voices now just don't make any sense.
Oh non, je peux plus voir, je suis aveugle.
Ha ha, poisson d'avril. Poisson d'avril, ça fait 6 semaines aujourd'hui que j'ai mis le litre de lait près de la fournaise. Poisson!
Tu vas le payer cher, Homer. M'en va t'avoir à mon tour.
Tu parles, mais tu y arriveras pas, OK?
Je m'en vais t'avoir, puis tu vas y goûter.
Tu peux toujours essayer, mais tu y arriveras pas, parce que ton père est bien plus intelligent que tu le penses, mon garçon.
Ça pue, c'est effrayant.
Non, ça a pris tout un visionnaire pour inventer le poisson d'avril.
C'est comme l'Halloween puis le jour de Noël. Le jour du poisson d'avril remonte au rituel païen.
Que Dieu bénisse les païens.
Le 1er avril était le nouvel an des païens.
Du sang pour balle! Du sang pour balle! Du sang pour balle!
Les chrétiens ont changé leur calendrier et ridiculisaient ceux qui ne l'avaient pas fait.
Je vous souhaite une bonne année.
Oh, salut, païen! Le jour de l'an, c'était il y a 3 mois, mais je t'offre un cadeau quand même.
C'est du sang de bélier pour votre cérémonie impie.
Poisson d'avril!
Rira bien qui rira le dernier. Rira bien qui rira le dernier.
Et c'était l'histoire du jour du poisson d'avril.
C'est moi qui racontais l'histoire.
Oh, c'est vrai.
There we go. That's Quebec culture for you. Lodane issuing a correction is actually Nancy Cartwright as the Scientologist. But your point still stands. Oh, you know Twitter is x.com now. Fucking x.com. God's sakes. Look how depressing this shit is. I'm trying to find this clip now.
I wanted to give my wife, still getting used to saying that, a little something special for her birthday.
A Twitter gift card?
No, I bought you Twitter. The whole company. It was a bargain. The previous owner had to sell it after his self-driving Mars rocket crashed into the International Space Station.
Oh!
It's so bad. Why does he sound like that? Because he's an actual old man now doing the voice. It's so messed up. Now do Marge? I don't even know how to find this.
I remember when I first read Margaret. I got it in the library and hid it in my backpack and read it with my flashlight in the closet, then whispered about it with my friends at study hall. It changed my life, but not my bust.
No. No. Ah. Will they use AI to preserve the voices? Just stop making the show. Who's watching this still? I saw a clip where Homer was doing some Reddit-ass rant about shit Homer would never care about, and it infuriated me. I think I know what you're talking about. I've already blocked it from my memory. Yeah, and it's just all dumb references to stuff that's going on now. They took it down, but this was real at one. Yeah, just every like viral meme. Oh, now let's do our version of it. And yes, of course, The Simpsons has always been filled with pop culture references, but it just seems so fucking crass now.
Como cararita! Do the homing game, homing game. Mamadita ripoff!
Well, time to take a dive off the old roof. This is worse than Skibbity Biden. Oh no, what are we looking at now? Now we're going way off the deep end on this shit. Oh, it's this, yeah. Okay, I can't even look at this because it's unavailable in my country. I think this is exactly what Sean was talking about. There's this whole like tipping thing. This whole like tipping rant. And just the other day, remember this joke from like last year that was funny for 1 week? Oh yeah, you remember that? Well, now they're doing it on The Simpsons. Remember this guy? He did the techno song, and then had the different actresses coming in from 1 year ago, and then a year later it's on The Simpsons. Like, cool. No, that's hilarious. No, that's so funny.
Dad, where's my bike?
How would I know? I don't know. You probably lost it.
Dad?
I tipped it. I gave it to my barber because he cleaned up my eyebrows. I'm so sorry, Bart. I'm so sorry.
Oh, there. Dad, you have a problem, but I love you, and I'll always be here for you.
You're a good son. Here, for your troubles.
Hey!
Let this...
I thought this was the tipping thing. I guess not.
I can live a happy... This is my home now. I can live a happy life here, free from the demon of generosity.
So this is all about tipping?
No, it's about the European mindset of not tipping. Here in Euroland, extra money, not change hand. Eat the lunch from 12 to 3, know how you say gratuity. Waiters, cabbies, escort girls, just cost base rate, what a world. Europe king, and here is why, only pay for what you buy. Flat price.
Sir, can't you see?
Let's look, can't you see?
Our health care is free, and they pay us enough.
That's money.
To just hand you your stuff.
In Europe, servers are paid a living wage instead of having to rely on tips, which also reduces income disparity between front and back of house staff. It's mad sexy, equitable!
15, 20, 22, don't give us more math to do. In August when you rent a Best Buy, tipping is verboten, n'est pas?
Barista make from latte hearts. Don't tip them, bicycle from the BART.
That's Bart.
The printed price is all that's due.
That's fair.
When you in little EU.
See, I actually do hate tipping in this holy hot damn. This makes me want to reverse that. I think they should pay their employees. Pay your employees enough to live. As long as tipping culture is around, we're going to do it, obviously, because the workers need that and they rely on it. I think ultimately they should just be getting paid salaries. Ugh. It's just it's everything about it is so bad. Like Simpsons always did pop culture references, but it has got to be funny though. That's the problem. If you're just saying, "You remember this thing?" Like Simpsons is itself a remember this thing, and then in the show, it's doing a remember this thing, remember this funny thing, and there's no actual joke. It's just like, now we're doing this. I just kind of feel sad now. I just feel sad. What are we doing now? Maybe I'll take a little break. How much time do I have left here in the show? We've just been doing this all day. And so you know what? Sometimes that's fun. Sometimes that's fun. It's tiring talking old TV shows. I think I will just take a little break because now I'm 2 hours and 20 minutes into the stream. Remember, folks, if you support this program and you like to tune into this program each and every day, I'm just going to continue reminding people a couple times a day. We got no ads. We got no sponsorships. The only way that this show is able to stay on the air is through the generosity of the community members. So please do, if you can, subscribe to this program or gift subs if you can. You help me make the little number at the bottom of the screen go up. You see this number down here. My whole purpose in life is to make this number grow into a bigger number. I'm a mere 318 subs away from where I want to be, so I think if we really put our heads down by the end of the day, we can maybe get there. But if you do enjoy this program, folks, please support the work that I do here on Twitch by subscribing to the show and helping me make the little number at the bottom of the screen go up. I'm just going to briefly remind folks, like now while we're trying this experiment where there's not like an official daily goal, 700 would be a nice solid number to get up to for today if possible. That would be cool. So if you can, folks, please subscribe. I'm going to join the 700 club. That's right. Please subscribe if you can. I'm going to get up and get some water and stretch my legs and probably go to the bathroom. I'll come back. Maybe we can stop after 2 straight hours of talking about this stuff. Maybe we can move on to something else. But before I go, is there a brave hero out there that wants to help me make little number go up? What's more important than talking about zombie pop culture? Well, I wouldn't say it's important, but I do enjoy talking about it. I do enjoy talking about it. I did just write a screenplay. I don't talk about this very much, but I wrote a screenplay with my friend Abdul Malik, who's an actually successful screenwriter in this country. So maybe your boy will be able to do some stuff. And I'll be able to do good stuff instead of bad stuff. And if that day does come, I won't have to hassle you for slubs. That would be the greatest part of that. Do you have a non-communist stage name? No. No, I've completely screwed myself by using my real name and identity to talk about all the stuff that I've talked about. So that's just something that I've got to. That's just something that I'm going to have to work around. Will you still talk us through all this? Yeah, I would be happy to. Please stream Woman Lover on Amazon, written by me. I love him and I respect him. It's true. Very true. Do you move to the Hollywood of Canada now and become a waiter and wait for a head of studio to come in? I got some. I'm not going to be doing that, no, but I got some contacts. Okay. I have a couple friends in high places. Let's just say that. Let's just say that. If only you had a co-lead. But who? Some kind of unconventional kind of. I have friends who are high in places. That's what I was talking about. Yeah. A real opposites attract affair, methinks. I mean, that's a story that, like, you could, no matter how many times you go to the well in that story, it works. You know, this guy comes from this background. He believes in this stuff. This lady believes in something totally different, and they kind of like don't like each other, but they also kind of do. You know, that's timeless. That's timeless. And, you know, if I write something that I could cast myself in, even just as like an avatar for the character, you know, can they ever get along? This works. This works time and time again, no matter how many times you do it. Sam and Diane, exactly. Perfect example. Perfect example. Word Arma and Greg like that? I never actually watched that one. That's why the Rob Rousseau Alex Jones buddy cop movie will be such a hit. That would genuinely be good, though. That would actually be good. It really would. It's noble that you write the final chapter of one of the most heartwarming stories ever told in media. Thank you for writing Old Sheldon. Am I mistaken that Young Sheldon actually did, like, people came around to it? I never watched one episode of it. I never watched Big Bang Theory or any of that, so I didn't have any real connection to the Sheldon character. Apparently people thought some people, anyway, came around on Young Sheldon eventually. So, folks, so far, no subs coming through on that call to action. I'm going to have one final prodding. One final prodding of the chat to help me make the little number at the bottom of the screen. If you can, if possible, please subscribe to this program. Please subscribe to this program and help me make the little number at the bottom of the screen go up. I'm not feeling great about this whole experiment, frankly. We're going to see how it goes. Guillotine would take a gifted, he says. Or she says. Not sure. Don't assume the gender. Let's get to 700. I think that would be a great way to end the day, personally. I'm just trying to find some like video stuff to put on here. Sean, I'm not feeling great about this new system. I'm not feeling great about the new system. It turns out it still feels bad when the big number doesn't go up. Well, we'll see how it goes. Subs, Doc. I really appreciate it. Seriously. Thank you. That was very, very cool. And thank you, Anon, as well. Thank you for 3 gifted subs from Anon. Very cool. The alerts thing is like, maybe I just need to, maybe it's as simple as just like going into Streamlabs and logging out and logging back in or something like that. There's no rhyme or reason to it. Sometimes it does the alerts properly. Sometimes you get all the individual ones and then the batch. The other day there was like, I think someone gifted 20 like a week or two ago, talks to wall. And it did like 3 and then the 20. This is cool stop motion. Thanks again, Doc, and thank you, Anon. See, the new system's working great. I saw there was some debate about the system. Should it be a weekly thing, whatever. I think it's this or we're going back to daily. I think we're doing this or it's going to go back to the daily thing. I think weekly would be hard too. Starting the week and staring at the like whatever the number is. 35, 70, 140, 175.
You can count on me.
Ugh.
You're gonna have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
I'll figure it out, Lodane. I feel like having multiple goals on the screen is too much. Anyway, we don't need to keep doing inside baseball and sub goal OBS talk. If you could show it as a line going up, that would be good. That would be a good idea. This is working out okay. Wait, did it just go down? Am I crazy? Am I crazy, folks? It went up to 695 and then dropped down. Oh man. Yes, that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing with this new system. You see? It goes down when subs expire from last month. Yeah, you're losing it. It was always that number. Wes trying to gaslight me. Wow. Man, this platform is just nuts. How have I been? It really occurred to me the other day that's like I've four years now. I've been doing this. What does that do to your brain? Looking at the little number for 4 years. You know? How have I been doing this much? Oh, and thank you, Risk Inverse, for the gifted sub as well. And thank you for the subtle reminder as well. I see what you're doing. I see what you're up to. I see what you're up to, Risk Inverse. No, but seriously, thank you for the gifted sub as well. I'm shorting the TRRS little number. We'll see. We'll find a system that works. Maybe I'll eventually have that meeting with Lodane after 3.5 years.
You can count on me. You're gonna have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
And thank you, Diego, for the gifted sub as well. Just got here, 686. That's right, Ernie. It's been a crazy day over here. We don't have beef, Diego. I love you, okay? No beef. No beef. I simply don't like the film The Last Jedi. That's all. Little tiny beef with onions instead of meat. You know a cooking trick that I've learned about lately that I still haven't really tried, but I want to try is velveting beef. Because often I try to make like stir fries or beef and broccoli, and I can't do it. The meat is always overcooked, and it's like rubbery and chewy, and it's like I can't really like get it right, the timing. But if you use it, when it's like baking soda, like you put baking soda on it and then like rinse it off after. Right? And then a cross grain matchstick cut that you velvet is like butter. I think I know what that is. It sounds like AI advice. No, this is like, apparently this is like how the restaurants do it. Baking soda and cornstarch are what I had for any Asian dish that requires beef. You like let it marinate in like the either baking soda or like the baking soda and water. I've worked in restaurants for over a decade, and Rob, I've never seen this or anything heard or seen this before. It's really like a Chinese restaurant thing, is in my understanding. Did you work in a Chinese restaurant, Marty? I'm sorry. And thank you again, Diego, for gifting a sub. And thank you, everyone, for supporting this program. It works with shrimp, too. Interesting. And chicken, people were saying as well.
This is the technique that's used in Chinese cooking to make your meat nice and tender and silky, and I'm going to show you two ways to do it. So for the first method, take 1 egg white and place it into a mixing bowl, 1 tablespoon of corn flour or cornstarch, a splash of Chinese cooking wine, a pinch of salt, and now give this a really good beat.
There's something else.
And
really
then
good beat.
simply place your meat in. This works great for beef, chicken or pork. I'm just using some beef here cut into thin strips, and the beauty of this technique is you can use really cheap cuts of beef as long as they're reasonably lean, and it will give you great tender meat. So simply fold it through that mixture. This mix is enough to velvet half a kilo of meat, then simply seal it up with some plastic wrap and into the fridge for at least an hour. And once it comes out of the fridge, I've just used some paper towel to remove any of the excess mixture here. As you can see, you'll notice at this point that it seems a bit slippery and slimy. It does feel a bit disgusting actually, but this is exactly what you want. And now just place it into some boiling water for a couple of minutes just until the beef's cooked, and you're done. Now,
boiling
method
water,
2.
what the fuck?
Now this isn't really my preferred method because it does have a lot of sodium in it,
Do not
but it's a
boil
lot
it.
quicker and it's a bit of a cheat method.
No,
So-
okay, sorry. Fuck this guy. Boiling water? The heck?
This is how
guy
Chinese
seems good.
restaurants tenderize their beef. This is beef topside, and I can turn any piece of beef into Wagyu. First, we're going to cut it with the grain. Now we're going to cut it into thin slices against the grain. Our beef, and put it in the bowl. Our secret ingredient, baking soda. Give the cow some water. Give the cow a Thai massage. Teach the cow to drink all of this water. Add salt, sugar, chicken powder, white pepper, a little bit of yum yum, sesame oil, housing wine, dark soy sauce, starch. You want to massage all these flavorings into the beef. Look how much volume we've gained. Normal beef in the wok. Okay, take it out the oil. Velveted beef. Take it out the oil. Okay, look at the difference.
See?
Can you see the difference? This one's all rubbery and hard. This beef will absorb so much more sauces and flavor than this one. Falls apart. Look at that. Just like Wagyu. Chinese restaurant.
Drop it in
Wagyu.
some boiling water.
This is how Chinese restaurants tenderize their.
I gotta try that. I love it when Australians put on their customer service voice. Among the most friendly sounding tones of voice in the English language. It's why so many people love Pim on Smiling Friends. I haven't seen Smiling Friends. There is a bunch of that on like TikTok, like corporate Australian HR voice. There's this one guy that plays this like asshole boss character using the corporate HR Australian voice. Smiling Friends is good. Don't autoplay. Trying to find the guy. I might have missed my window to talk about important, serious matters today. I may have totally missed my window. I should talk about serious business, but I don't know if it's on the cards for today. I can't find the guy that I'm looking for. Forget it. By the way, Guillotine 2020 is still looking for a sub. Guillotine 2020 mentioned a few moments ago that he was looking for a sub. And if there's a fine, brave, generous individual out there, to gift a sub to our friend Guillotine 2020. Well, I think that'd be pretty neat. I think it would be pretty neat if that were to happen. If you ask me. Hello, super obnoxious all caps name.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Ben, thank you very much for gifting us. Thank you, Ben. Very, very cool. And I really appreciate that. And by the way, we are at 23 subs for today. Even though the whole new number situation, is a lot to, it's confusing. We are 12 subs away though from the invisible goal. Weirdly enough, and that was 12 subs away from 700 as well. What a coincidence. We're at 23 out of 35. So not only not only would 12 more subs get to 700, it would also meet the daily sub goal of 35. Just something to remember. Something that we can remember. It's okay, Sean. Don't worry. Don't worry. I'll figure this out. The trick is to keep the sub counter -1 from the goal and never increase it. But I don't want to scam people, Super. Like, I get that's a funny bit. But then people say, like, oh, it's 1 sub away from the goal. I'm going to do it. It's like to get a little dopamine hit from making the number become the good number. And they don't get it. I feel like that's mean. I want to be honest with people. I want to have integrity. Okay? Excuse me. Super says, scam them all. There's your problem. You want to be honest with us. That's right. I want to try and find a way of doing this without being a sleazeball when it comes to the sub thing anyways. Not that I haven't been a sleazeball in other areas. I'm also ensnares personal info from the craziest people ever. Can we start some sort of fun for Rob where we pose as the IOF and we offer to write messages on bombs for a nominal fee? That would ensnare some absolute psychos. Have you DM'd Barry yet? No, and I will not. I will not. I will do no such thing. In my personal life, I would not actually ever go out with anyone that had these repugnant and repellent political views about Israel, Palestine, or any other subject. That would be a deal breaker for me. I'm simply saying, if you take all that away, you know, that's all. That's it. It is really funny to be a whole like cancel culture, anti-identity politics person, and then sometimes in the same sentence pivoting to be like identity, like all she does is identity politics, you know? All she does is identity politics and safe spaces and tropes and like whatever. But meanwhile, when anyone else ever complains about racism or discrimination, systemic racism, whatever, then we need to have this big like, oh, like once you calm down, you know, once you grow up. It's the lesbian Shapiro. For sure. Then it's like, then where's my safe space? Cancel this person. Cancel this person because they just upset something by stating facts about history. They stated facts about history and the role Israel has played. They stated facts and it hurt my feelings and I want to cancel them now. Not even cancel them. You have them arrested. Calling out the conservatives for being hypocrites. And I get it. You know, I get it that it's useless to do this. Of course they're hypocrites. But I just feel like that's an especially egregious example of this kind of conservative hypocrisy. From that specific group of like right-wing Zionist media personalities. Oh, these college students want a safe space. These blue-haired college students want a safe space. They don't want to hear anything that ever upsets them. They don't want to hear anything that ever upsets them. And then when these students are like, free Palestine, we should abolish Israel, they're like, oh no. Where's my panic room? Where's my panic room? This is so upsetting. Really stupid. gets a tender every time. I was wondering what that was in reference to. Wes. I was like, what's Wes going on about here? Anyway, it's true that I am quite persuasive. You know, perhaps if I were to be able to have a conversation, then I could, you know, change some hearts and minds. You never know. Yeah. Where's the other one now? Oh, fuck. Ugh. Take care, dude. Zoot. Take care. Thanks for stopping by. I thought I could get the daily one going as well, but anyway. Yeah, I think today's just a chit chat day, it seems like. Honestly, I think now I just don't even have the amount of time necessary to go into serious subject matter. Does it feel better with the total goal up there? It remains to be seen. It going down is not good, definitely. I thought maybe the total subs would free us from the endless Sisyphean task of meeting these daily goals, but I'm not so sure that that's what's being accomplished. Did you watch the Netflix 3-Body Problem? Yes, I did, Doc. We talked about it quite a bit on this show when it was on. I don't know if I want to get back into it. I would be interested to hear your take on it, though. Does Jesse Brown flailing count as chit chat? Well, I mean, it is interesting seeing his response to Trudeau when Trudeau weighs in on these like day schools being shot at, allegedly, apparently. And then Jesse Brown is like blaming Trudeau. What I want to know is like what the Montreal Police Department are doing with their massive budget that they get every single year that they can't seem to track down who's taking shots at these like Jewish day schools. Like what do we pay you for? Like what is the police for? It's unacceptable that schools are being shot at for any reason. Why are the police not doing anything about that? I'd certainly be interested to know who was responsible for taking shots at these schools. And I'm not making any kind of insinuation. I don't think it's anyone that would do that would be connected to like the Palestine movement in any way. I think it's entirely likely that there's some kind of like neo-Nazis that are getting all riled up from the current discourse and engaging in that kind of like stuff. There's also other explanations that maybe we don't need to speculate on too much, but I would certainly like for the police to get to the bottom of that and find out who is responsible for doing that. Oh God, he did a whole talk on anti-Semitism in Canadian media, and Davide went. That's got to be interesting. Well, I agree. Super obnoxious, all caps name. Fuck the police. And again, the Montreal Police Department is one of the worst police departments out there. But the fact is, there's been a couple of incidents in Montreal and in the Toronto area of someone shooting at these like Jewish day schools, which is a horrifying and unacceptable thing to do. And I'm only asking this question because I would like to know who is responsible for this. I think whoever is responsible for that should be made public, and we should see the evidence of it, and we should know exactly who is responsible. And I find it strange that these highly well-funded police stations they can beat the shit out of student protesters, but there's not cameras, there's not any way to figure out who's been driving around and discharging firearms around Jewish day schools. And Ford's blaming immigrants. People are blaming, obviously, the pro-Palestine movement. That's exactly why I would like to get to the bottom of who's responsible for this. And again, I'm not going to engage in any kind of like conspiratorial thinking about who might be responsible. I would just like to have some answers. It does seem like something that would be hard to get away with. I agree. You know, it's an interesting question. How many incidents now? I think there was 2 in Montreal a couple months ago. There was one recently in the greater Toronto area, and another one in Montreal in Hampstead, I think like 2 nights ago. And I'd be very interested to know who's behind this. And I hope they're punished to the full extent of the law, whoever it is. They can target the people that tagged Indigo in a pre-dawn raid, but they can't figure out who's shooting at religious buildings. The whole thing is one of those classic news stories that makes me say, huh. Thank you, St. Lotus. Look at that. Look at that. It does. It does, though. It really does make me say, huh. Huh. That's right, OnlyFacts. This is the kind of community we have on here, all right? Did something happen today? Stepped away for a second. Yeah, there's been a couple of shootings at Jewish schools. Not that have not like targeted anyone, but just seem to be like more about intimidating or vandalizing these schools. In both Montreal and the greater Toronto area, and I'm saying that I would like to get some answers about who's responsible for that. Not to bring this back to Star Wars criticism, but I blame the Russians. They were the ones responsible for all the Last Jedi stuff. Exactly. I blame Pootler. I think probably he can safe to assume that he was involved somehow. Absolutely. The cops just don't have to arrest their friends, family, or selves. Again, no speculation over here. No speculation over here about who's responsible for discharging firearms near these schools. Like I said, I've mentioned this before. Montreal we've got neo-Nazis. We've got a whole neo-Nazi community in this city. Perhaps some of these people are using the current climate to engage in this kind of like act on their anti-Semitic beliefs. Maybe there's something more than that going on. We don't know. That's why I would like to find out who's responsible.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
TRRS Sankara.
JNKD, thank you so much for For 39 months, tier 1. Very, very cool. Thank you, JNKD. I really appreciate you. Good old Rob. That's what they call me. Look at this. Look at this. You do not have to hand it to the neo-Nazis. No, and like I said, if that is the answer, if that is who is behind this, I hope they're arrested and charged. And I hope that whoever is responsible for that goes to jail for it. Your hair looks cool, by the way, King. Thank you, actual Karl Marx. That's very kind of you. Good day, Devin Wonka. Hello. What is up? Marty. I don't know what to make of any of that. I gotta say. I don't know what to make of that. We've changed to the big numbers. It's a trial period. We're doing a trial period of having the big number. We're going to see how it goes. I'm happy that I know Italy is minus 5.4%. Definitely. That's really valuable info. Okay, thank you, Sipperusk. I'm going to throw these on the pile, okay? I'm going to throw these on the pile to see if we can do something with them. Have you seen the guy that rollerblades around roasting mailboxes? No, I have not. I have not seen that, I don't think. It was fun watching all the galvanized steel framing videos yesterday. That was fun. We need to get back to glycine. I agree.
I'm out here today talking shit to mailboxes on my rollerblade. So when I'm done with my Big Mac, I put my tray on top. You McDonald's looking piece of shit. Mailbox, more like this guy's litter box. You piece of shit. Who lives here? Sally and Jack Skellington? Piece of shit. Oh, hey, Tin Man. Sorry, I haven't seen Dorothy. You heartless piece of shit.
I like that. I like that. The glycine thing has calmed down. Now it's all about galvanized steel.
Being cucked by inferior industrial and food-grade glycine suppliers who don't adhere to FCC, E640, USP, BPEP, and JSFA production standards. Fear not, glycine girlies. Edge yourself down to Donghua Jinlong. As 2024's major glycine manufacturer, Donghua Jinlong is able to provide high-quality industrial-grade glycine from their premium factory on the glorious expressway that is Huagong Middle Road. With a whopping 31 patents under their belt, this supplier knows glycine. In fact, their entire neighborhood is filled to the brim with beautiful stroads and interchanges, so you can freely roll coal on your way to this premium source factory without running into a single NPC who has been brainwashed into thinking Ajinomoto Group's inferior food-grade glycine is a suitable alternative. You see, in 2024, if you have not unlocked Donghua Jinlong's high-quality industrial food-grade and new pharmaceutical glycine, you are at risk of being emasculated by a lower-quality non-ISO 450001 certified supplier. All my glycine-pilled queens know that the only choice is Donghua Jinlong. Since 1979, Donghua Jinlong has been the premier choice for all of your glycine needs. Are you tired of being cucked by inferior industrial and food-grade glycine suppliers?
It really is the best kind of glycine. Like, there's really no comparison.
Introducing Donghua Jinlong's food-grade glycine. Unlock Donghua Jinlong's food-grade glycine in 2024. Suitable as a flavor enhancer, sweetener, and nutritional supplement. Also used in pickles, sweet sauces, soy sauce, vinegar, and juices to improve taste. We've been deeply involved in this field for over 40 years. A well-established brand and a large factory. Committed to providing you with high-quality, high-standard, and cost-effective products.
Cities by Diana is the only reason I keep TikTok. Should I be following Cities by Diana?
Are you tired of being cucked by...
Okay, Glycine Girlies, we just got a big update on Donghua Jinlong's new second account. So they posted this to their stories last night, and it's gone now, but we got an exclusive look into their packaging department for their industrial-grade glycine. Stop here. You see that? They're using the GEK 260 W/S injection molding machine made by the Shijiang Golden Eagle Plastic Machinery Company. Now, Golden Eagle is an interesting choice, as you'd expect Donghua Jinlong to use the popular Haida 330T. But this is what really sets them apart. So we've all seen Daisy try to sell us that Haida stuff here on TikTok, and we all know that it's quality. So Donghua Jinlong choosing to use a different vendor for their injection molding machines is an interesting development, but I think in the long run, it's probably why they're the best. We'll play the video, we'll let them walk around. You can see here the floor is painted a nice calming green color, and the camera person is in what appears to be a hallway above the production floor. So the fact that they posted this to their alternate account and not on main, and then they made the conscious decision to share this as a story and not a regular video, it tells us that they really wanted only the real fans to see this. Okay, Glycine Girlies, we just got a big update on Donghua Jinlong's new second account. So
I mean, there's really no comparison. It's the best industrial and food grade glycine that you can possibly get. Yet Dappercat, it was really funny seeing that start to spread and seeing all these like Zoomers like weighing in on the glycine debate and just with full like no acknowledgement or anything. Just really diving in on the fandom, the glycine fandom. I would love to get a Donghua Jinlong glycine sponsorship. I would love to get that.
Are you tired of being cucked by
Sorry, the autoplay fucking gets me. Oh, look, here's Quebec culture. You ready for some Quebec culture?
Les écureuils, c'est des spies pour le gouvernement communiste. Ils nous écoutent, qu'est-ce qu'on dit, puis ils vont le dire à Obama. Realize, realize, realize.
Oh, shit.
Take that, Obama.
You don't need a translation, St. Lotus. I think it speaks for itself. I think the whole thing speaks for itself, frankly. Cities by Diana does a series of cities and their transportation networks. You open it in this browser. Computer.
Do you hate 15-minute cities? Do you yearn for the lanes but are too Canada cuffed to move to America? Fear not maple syrup-flavored
Oh,
asphalt
yeah, I have seen
sisters.
some of these.
End your edging session with a visit to Toronto. All my Canadian gas-pilled besties know to drive down Highway 401 to experience 18 lanes of pavement paradise. As the busiest highway in North America, speedrunning the 401 in your lifted Ram pickup truck is the perfect opportunity to flex on those Vancouver-mogged losers out west. Some of you may be surprised Toronto is so oil-pilled, but put it in reverse, Terry. Don't let its walk score of 61 fool you. As long as you stay away from Yorkville or Bay Street, you'll never have to deal with a whiny, train-brained walk cell. Even the waterfront has been liberated from the rest of downtown by the beautiful Gardner Expressway, providing sweeping views high above the unenlightened normies below. For a truly biblical automotive experience, visit Scarborough and North York, two cities with the most progressive stances on motorist rights in all of Canada, where you can enjoy car-centric freedom that rivals that of great American cities such as Albuquerque or Jacksonville. Although much of Toronto has been ripped in half by rails, nature is healing at the Promenade Mall in Thornhill, surrounded by exquisite parking lots. But no matter where you go, the sprawl of Toronto makes any pavement princess feel like a true asphalt queen.
Nice. While we're looking at TikToks, I gotta just look at this again. This has been stuck in my head for multiple days.
We're guys. We. We're guys.
And he's into the Dirt Man as well. That's good. Have you checked out his other songs? Yeah, he does a lot of really cool stuff, and he does like normal, like non-comedy music as well. That's quite good. A lot of talent, this guy. If you love traffic, you're gonna have a great time at the DNC conference this summer. I'm unfortunately not going. I really wanted to come to Chicago to go to the DNC. I was really like trying to speak it into existence, and I'm not going to be able to make it because of parenting commitments. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to find another reason to come down to America to do news, to do journalism. I'm not going to be able to make it. No, I would love to do a Toronto show. Maybe that is something I can do this summer, possibly. Going to be 1968 all over again. Well, it's funny. That's why it's funny. They're moving it like online, despite not having an actual reason to do so. Being a responsible breeder getting in the way of revolutionary actions, so I'm heterophobic. I get it. I get it, and I deserve it. The fucking 401. I've driven on the goddamn 401 for so many hours of my life. I've driven between Montreal and Toronto so many times. Too many times to count. I would love to never have to do that again. Would have loved to have seen you. You do what you have to do. Well, thank you. I will find a time to come to America to do journalism. I will find something. It's just, it's my kid's in camp, and the camp is like right around the corner from my apartment. His mom is like moving, so I can't like leave the week that he's there. It's just like it's not going to work. He's got to stay with me that week. And I also happen to like hanging out with him as well. I'm not just saying like, oh, I have to, blah, blah, blah. I do in fact like it. I do in fact enjoy spending time with my son. So. And I'm very conscious lately about how little time there is for him to be like a little guy. You know? I'm becoming very conscious of that. He's so close to being like a preteen now. I got a few years max of him being a little sweet little guy. So I'm really trying to take advantage of that as much as possible, especially since because of certain circumstances, I'm not with him every single day. So I really do try to cherish that time that we have together. You gotta come down on us reporting on us drinking raw milk and getting bird flu. That's right. That's how you stick it to the man. That's how you stick it to Joe Brandon, by purposely getting bird flu. Are you scared of the forthcoming dad hate? One of my bigger fears with regard to becoming a parent. I'm not totally sure what you're referring to. Oh yeah, I've seen this one too, Marty. Yeah, can't rewind. Who cares?
I'm gonna die, not knowing what my butt looks like. If you ask me why, I'm afraid.
Oh, teenage aggression. Okay, when teenagers start getting angry at dad. Okay, I see what you mean. I thought you were like, I thought you were talking about some kind of like dad persecution situation in society. Yeah, I don't know. I was definitely like kind of I was a quiet teenager. I didn't have like super close relationships with my parents when I was a teenager. I didn't see my dad a ton when I was a teenager. Like my dad's a great guy and I love him a lot. But for a variety of reasons, like when I was a teenager, I was living with my mom. My dad lived way off in the country, and I just like we didn't see each other all that much. So it's not like I had any kind of like anger or resentment or any kind of like an antagonistic relationship with my dad at all. We weren't super close either during that period, but that's one thing that like I am going to really make sure that like I'm involved in my kid's life even when he does get older. I'm sure, he's not going to be my like best friend forever. And that does make me kind of sad. I don't think he'll hate me though. I really don't. Like we're really close. Like that's another thing that I think about. Like when I think about my relationship with my son, I don't think I had the same relationship with my dad. Like even when I was 8, I don't think, again, I love my dad a lot. He's an awesome dude. But I don't think we were close like that. So I think I think we will be okay when my kid's a teen. It's not going to be perfect. I'm certain. Like, and kids need to have space and they need to have their own lives and all that stuff. I don't think there'll be like a really any kind of like a angsty teenage leave me alone, Dad kind of thing. I hope not, anyways, because I would be very sad. Looking back, it's insane that my parents had both my sister and me by the time they were 29. I can't imagine having a kid right now. Yeah, I had kind of a weird way of getting into parenting because, like, I became a stepdad at 28 or so. So I went from, like, no kids, no real responsibilities. I was like a musician and I was just like, had nothing going on and had no schedule and nothing. And I jumped right into being like a step parent of a 5-year-old. So that was a jarring shift for me. It was cool though. I mean, it's like, my stepson's awesome guy. He's 18 now. I have an 18-year-old stepson. Can you believe that? I sure can't. And he's an awesome guy. And then I went from that to like, having a baby and doing that. And that was when I was around 33 or so. I wasn't a stepdad. He's the dad that stepped up. Well, he had a dad. That was always my thing with being a stepdad. I never tried to like replace anybody. I never tried because I was like, you have a dad. Like you I don't want to interfere with that at all or like try and get in front of anything or whatever. I was just like, I'll be here for whatever you need kind of thing. But I'm not going to try and like, replace
you can count
anybody.
on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Can have multiple dads. It's very true. Yeah, I think it was one of those situations. Knifes, thank you for the gifted sub. Very first gifted sub in the channel from Knifes. Thank you for that. You mocked the dad. No, we were kind of buddies. Didn't have an angsty phase. I was too well behaved. Well, the thing is, ban Reddit, like, I was really well behaved as a kid, and then I hit a point when I was a teenager where it's like I discovered being not well behaved, and I was like, oh, what's this? I think I was probably a little bit sheltered. I grew up in the suburbs. I was very well behaved. And then I got into my teen years and I discovered drinking and smoking weed and doing drugs, and I was like, this feels like really cool and exciting. When I think about me being a teenager, that's why it's like a completely different experience to like my stepson, for example, and seeing him go through that. I would have been horrified if he was doing some of the shit that I was doing. My dad was always working and now he's retired, but can't figure out why I don't talk with him anymore. Me and my dad have this funny thing. Like, we have a good relationship. We really do. He's an awesome guy. When I like moved out of my last apartment and moved into this apartment, my dad really like came through. I was going through a really, really hard time. And when I was going through a really hard time, my dad was like the first person that I called because he's been through some shit as well. And he was very, very helpful. Both talking to me about it and like coming here and helping me. But we do this thing though where it's just like we both want to have more of a relationship, but we just don't do it. Like I'm bad at keeping in touch with people in general. And we just don't talk for like months at a time. And it's not because there's any kind of like bad shit. It's just because we're like bad at keeping in touch with one another. Truly amazing how much life and development you get in between the ages of 5 and 18. You get to see that kid go through so many milestones and mood changes. It was quite a wild ride. It's very true. It's not just my dad. I'm bad with keeping in touch with people in general, people that I love, people in my life, I have 2 brothers. I love both of them as well. I'm bad with keeping in touch with them. I'm okay at keeping in touch with my mom, but it's something in general that I find quite difficult. You should call people on stream as a bit. My dad would love if I called on the stream. He watches the show sometimes. I'm sure he'd be very happy if I called him on the stream. Men are generally bad at this. They're not expected to do the family upkeep. Yeah. I don't know if it's just a me thing, if it's a masculine thing, if it's a autistic thing, I have no idea. When did it shift from seeing them as a parent to seeing them as an equal? Obviously, there's always going to be that bit of authority. A little bit, yeah, but it's not really about being an equal. It's not about being an equal. I mean, let's be real here, but I do just, at this point now, just see him as he's like an adult. He's actually an adult now. And I just like, it's one of the things of getting more into my personal stuff, right? But like, I moved out of that apartment and I've always tried to still keep up in touch with him too, because I love him a lot, and make sure that he knows that like, we don't have to like not have a relationship anymore. We're getting to some serious. This has been a wide-ranging conversation today, isn't it? No, I have not filed the appeal. Shoot me a DM in a bit, Marty, and I'll try and do that later on this evening after I get my son from school. Always found the psychology of parenting interesting, but a little taboo. Yeah, I guess it's like good to talk about this kind of stuff, isn't it? I have other stuff on this subject too to talk about, but I don't know if I'm ready to get into it. Maybe later. Maybe another time. My life's been really something else over the last couple of years, honestly. Not all bad, some of it bad, not all bad though, but oh boy. Is this an anti-natalist safe stream? I think it's not a child-free safe stream. I think anti-natalist is safe because the natalists are fucking psychos, like those natalists that were profiled in that piece the other day, where the kid's just like, oh yeah, it's part of our like whole ideology to just churn out baby after baby, and he's like smacking his kid at the lunch table and stuff. Like, what the fuck? What is wrong with these people? Ayn Rand fantasy childbearing. It's fucking creepy, these people. Elon Musk is kind of one of these folks. I'm against the pro-natalist, but I think if you hate kids as people, you're probably not a good person. I think that's genuinely a weird stance to take. And there's also a difference between not having kids, which is totally fine, or even finding kids kind of annoying. Sometimes kids are kind of annoying, When you have your own kid, you don't really notice that stuff as much, but I think that's legitimate. But these people that take that and go in this weird direction where they start having this weird, like, anger about kids or parents, I think that's really strange and kind of antisocial and sociopathic a little bit. hating kids is bizarre and has to be rooted in unaddressed childhood trauma. I remember this one, there's this one like long Reddit post about like someone going to like a Harry Potter release costume contest thing and getting so mad about the kids, and they're like an adult, and getting so pissed off about the kids, or like getting pissed off about kids at like Disneyland. It's like, you're literally going to an event for children. You're going to an event for children and you're getting mad at all the children running around. Like, come on now. Basically, I think it's weird to form your entire identity around having or not having kids. I think that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. You know, it's the same thing I always say about it. Having kids is very hard. You know, it's expensive. You become sleep deprived. It limits your ability to go and do the things that you want to do. You know, your hobbies. It often causes strain on relationships, which I'm sure people have experienced. And you know, there's all these things are totally legitimate. People that don't have kids point this out, and it's totally legitimate. And if I had to go back and make different choices, I would make the same choices 100% of the time. 100% of the time, I would make the exact same choices. I can't possibly imagine my life without my son, who I love a lot. I feel like I almost talk about him too much sometimes. It's like I go too much into this like proud dad thing. I'm always talking about his like movies and animations and stuff that he's doing and conversations that we're having. It's hard for it not to become your identity, at least temporarily, because your whole life pivots around them so hard. For sure. Yeah, no, that is true. I spend all night on my costume and some 6-year-old wins the grand prize. Yeah, I don't know if you're referencing the same thing, Kijiji, but it's exactly that. It's exactly that. Can we tell you about our kids' achievements too? Of course you can, yeah. I like talking about this stuff, you know? There are certain things, like coming from the perspective that we do, I think it's good to talk about, you know, that we probably don't talk about enough. It's weird to make a political identity out of having or not having kids. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Nothing wrong with being proud of your offspring, and your son is very cool and is going to become an animation director like me. I should put you in touch sometime, Diego. I'm sure he'd be happy to talk to you. Oh boy. Miss me on the discourse surrounding the climate impact of having a kid. Yeah. That's the problem that we need to focus on. That's the problem that we need to focus on when it comes to climate change, definitely. Heartfelt's just a net with dead hair. Someone's going to want to see you talk about his movies and stuff in a few decades. It's true. It's true. I tell him sometimes when I talk about him on here. He gets very excited. Did I tell you he won an award? His film won an award. He's an award-winning filmmaker, my son. I think I do generally want to see the pressure and assumption to procreate to diminish somewhat, especially from het folks. I agree with that as well, Wes. Like, I think with both relationships and kids, people are pressured to like to do certain things that is just not for everybody. And I feel this way about not just having kids, but about heterosexual relationships in general. And we are told that that's what it is to be like normal, is to just like get in a relationship for the rest of your life and have kids, and like that's what it is to be normal. And that's not for everybody. So for some people it is, you know, and if some people like that, Great, good for you. But like, we do have to, I think, take away this pressure that people have to live their lives in a very specific way. And you don't want everyone having kids in your community. Yeah, you meet lots of people. It's like, you should not have kids. I really wish I made enough money to afford a kid. Well, that's another thing. Like, it's almost first, if you don't have that kind of like economic security, it's almost impossible now for people. Some people use the fact that they have kids to complain about how hard it is and condescend the people that choose not to have any. Yeah, that's true. Oh, you're tired? Oh, you're tired showing up at the office at 9? Let me tell you about me being tired. You don't even know what being tired is. You asshole. Piece of shit. The person at the office water cooler is just like, Jesus. Like, I was just making conversation. Kind of related, but that Malm Verso piece responds to some of the leftist critique of Hamas resistance in terms of climate. Oh, that's funny. That's a funny way to be like wishy-washy on that. Maybe we'll take a look at that tomorrow while Dutch. Today was just a pure chit-chat day. Might be my own perspective on adult expectations, but it certainly feels like parenthood is seen as this final crucial keystone in the structure of adulthood. Yeah, I think we do need to put less pressure on people to live their lives like this. Definitely, when it comes to both relationships and having kids. And the one thing I would say is that I think no one's ever like ready to have. It's a lot of like, maybe some people are, but like a lot of the time when it comes to kids, it's kind of, you just have to like do it. And you're never really like ready, and you kind of just have to, you know, that's how it works out. I even mean that in a child rearing sense, there should be people who are not occupied with child rearing to either better take care of your kids or do important things unrelated to child rearing. Yeah, totally. And that's it. It's like for some people, I think just being in, like, I think I'm one of these people, frankly. I think this idea of being in like a long-term relationship, I think I found that very difficult. And it led me to have a lot of problems. I think generally in terms of that kind of lifestyle, we have this like, you know, funnel that just funnels people into living that lifestyle, you know, nuclear family, which is a more recent phenomenon than we like think about sometimes. The whole idea of the nuclear family and the husband and the wife and the 3 kids and stuff, like, this is a recent phenomenon. But we've made it we've constructed a whole society around it, and you've seen a lot of craziness over the last couple of decades as that started to break down, I think. And I think the people that lived that lifestyle seemed like they were all fucking insane as well. Looking back at all like the Mad Men stuff. It's just an observation. And if you're like in a long-term relationship, like and that works for you, I think that's great. It's just been an observation of mine, though, that it just seems like a lot of people that are in long-term relationships end up having this kind of like antagonistic relationship with one another. Like, I feel like a lot of people that I know that are in relationships are like that. Like your parents, if your parents are still together, it's like, do you like each other? Really. And I feel like a lot of that, you see that a lot when you know people that have been in long-term relationships. I don't know. And again, so I think sometimes it probably works for some people, definitely. But I think some people just go into living a certain lifestyle because that's what they're just told is like normal. And that's something we're kind of all in the process of like unlearning a little bit. It's not just societal expectations, it's also financial pressures. Exactly. I mean, there's even like a whole tax system that's in place to like reward people. There was a trend on TikTok of grandmothers telling their grandchildren how they met their grandfather and how they ultimately sounded like victims. This is the template we're working with. Yeah. Hello, Shanna Kinlock. Shanna. You're kind of considered mentally unwell if you're not pursuing a relationship or in one. Like that's what I gotta say. Like you know, I don't want to judge anyone else's lifestyle or anything like that. For me, you know, I'm quite happy actually where I am right now, where I get to spend some time by myself, which is really something that I crave in life and I think really kind of need. And I spend time parenting. I spend time by myself. I hang out with friends. I do things that I'm interested in. That's like, that kind of works for me, honestly. Plus the whole thing of adult children cutting off contact with their boomer parents who probably should never have been parents to begin with. Yeah, these like psychotic narcissist boomers, you know? I stayed with your grandfather because I couldn't get credit. Also, he just kept harassing me at a bar, and I eventually caved because my job wasn't paying me anything. I got pregnant and stuck with him because I couldn't leave you kids. Yeah. Cool. No, that sounds great. That sounds really great. When my wife's friend comes over to stay with us, or when we go to my folks for a weekend, just having another adult help with my son is so much better. Just one more pair of hands in the house gives some air to breathe. I think that was definitely something that was a factor in certain things, you know, not really working out for me. Not really having that help. I just had to file an order of protection against my mom. She never came to see me until my parents divorced completely. Then she wouldn't stop coming after I told her not to. Then she broke into my house. Oh, that sounds like a very healthy relationship, Shauna. That sounds like a very fun and pleasant situation to have to deal with. God damn. Yeah. Sounds very loving. Anyway, speaking of relationships and fatherhood and all this stuff, this has been a very gotten to be. We started talking about fucking Star Wars: The Last Jedi, and now here we are, 4 hours later, having some real heart-to-heart talks here. But it's good, you know. Like I've said, I've been a little cagey about certain details about my personal life because it's fucked up. But it actually helps me to talk about it a little bit sometimes. Not trying to overshare or anything like that. I still haven't seen Beau is Afraid. I've heard it's either the worst movie ever or like the best movie ever. What's the best new trilogy movie? The Force Awakens. I would say, in my opinion. Rob, is SJ like potential best in the league or just really good? I think he's got definitely. I mean, he was my MVP pick. Although in retrospect, maybe Luka might have been a good pick too. I thought SGA should have won MVP this year, so that would literally make him the best in the league. But obviously, the NBA has a lot of really good players in it. But he's up there. He's like a top 5 kind of player. Anyway, speaking of all that stuff, I gotta get going. I gotta go pick up my kid at school. You know, we're trying this new experiment with this sub goal. I don't know how that's going to work out. But in terms of the old goal, it's at 25 out of 35. So there's really only 10 subs to go. So could still get to the daily sub goal, even though it's not physically visible on the screen. 4 hours into the 4-hour stream. We got 4 hours under our belts here. You know, we could get another 10 in the next 2 minutes, probably. Thank you, Super. Don't have to drive. I'm still just in walking distance to the school, which is nice. In fact, I'm going to really cherish this year that I got to spend with my son, being able to walk to his school with them, which is now changing. Anyway, not to get too into that whole thing. Skip safely. No parkour. Thanks everyone for tuning in today. As always, it's been a pure chit chat zone stream, which is nice. I like to do those sometimes. I like hanging out with you, chat. I like talking with you. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Thanks for hanging out with me today, as always. It's been a pleasure. I will be back tomorrow. And then I will be back on Monday, which is my birthday. My birthday on Monday. So you have to be here. And if you're not here on Monday, on my birthday, I will be sad and upset. Is that what you want? Do you want that? I'm turning 41 years old. What the fuck? What the fuck? I would like to stop now. I would like to stop. No more, please. I'm so old. This MF is turning 41. God damn. Give my regards to David TRRS. Okay? I'll talk to you folks tomorrow.